In the stillness of evening, as the world slows and the body begins to unwind, there is something quietly extraordinary happening beneath the surface. Without any conscious effort, trillions of cells continue their patient work, maintaining the rhythm of life. The heart keeps beating, the lungs expand and contract in their gentle cadence. Tiny electrical signals glide through the nerves like whispers in the dark. Even in rest, the human body remains alive with motion, a symphony of coordination and balance. To understand this intricate harmony is to glimpse one of nature's most elegant achievements, the living human form. Every person carries within them a complete universe of biological processes. Each breath, each heartbeat, each blink of an eye is the outcome of countless interactions between systems, organs, and cells. The human body is both simple and complex, robust yet delicate, strong yet sensitive. And though we often think of it as a collection of separate parts, in truth it behaves as a unified whole, from head to toe, from skin to bone to cell. Every piece contributes to the grand design of survival and stability. It can be easy to take this balance for granted. The body does not require constant thought or instruction to keep going. Even as we sleep, it regulates temperature, digests food, circulates blood, and repairs tissues. Muscles rest, but the heart never stops. The brain may enter slower rhythms, but it remains quietly alert, guiding breathing and maintaining the steady beat that sustains life. Each of these processes is the responsibility of a specific body system, and each system works in partnership with all the others. To truly appreciate the wonder of human biology is to see the ways in which these systems cooperate in perfect, unspoken agreement. Imagine for a moment standing at the edge of a vast landscape. Before you lies a living terrain, rivers of blood flowing through channels of arteries and veins, forests of branching nerves, carrying silent messages, mountains of bone supporting the soft plains of tissue. This is the inner landscape of the body. It is both familiar and mysterious, a place of constant motion hidden beneath stillness. Though it can be studied in laboratories and described in medical texts, it also carries a quiet poetry, the rhythm of life continuing unseen, unannounced, yet endlessly precise. To understand the human body is not only to memorize facts or name organs, but to sense the remarkable coordination that allows a person simply to be. At any moment, countless microscopic processes are taking place. A red blood cell releases oxygen into muscle tissue, then drifts back toward the lungs to collect more. A nerve impulse travels from the skin to the brain, alerting it to the touch of fabric or the warmth of sunlight. Hormones move through the bloodstream, delivering subtle chemical messages that influence energy, mood, and growth. Each of these tasks occurs seamlessly, without interruption, because the body's systems are designed to operate together as one. When scientists speak of the body, they often describe it as a collection of systems: the nervous system, the circulatory system, the respiratory system, and so on. Each system has its own organs and functions, yet no system exists in isolation. The respiratory system draws in air, supplying oxygen to the bloodstream. The circulatory system carries that oxygen to every cell. The digestive system provides nutrients that fuel the heart and brain, while the endocrine system fine-tunes chemical balances to keep everything stable. This interdependence forms the essence of life. Even something as simple as standing upright requires remarkable cooperation. Muscles contract and release in careful sequence. Bones bear the body's weight, and nerves adjust posture through constant feedback to the brain. The inner ear senses balance. The eyes orient to the horizon, and the cardiovascular system responds to gravity by directing blood where it's needed most. All of this occurs in the space of an instant, often without awareness. It is as though the body has its own intelligence, a wisdom built from millions of years of evolution, fine-tuned to protect and preserve its living form. The human body is also a story of scale. At the smallest level, are atoms, carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, and others, combining to form molecules. These molecules assemble into cells, each one a tiny world of its own, with structures and machinery dedicated to survival. Some cells contract, creating motion. Others conduct electrical impulses or produce enzymes. Together they form tissues, and tissues give rise to organs. The heart, the liver, the brain, the lungs. Each organ carries out a particular role, but all work in concert to maintain the steady conditions that life requires. This constant regulation, known as homeostasis, is the quiet balancing act that defines living existence. The body must keep its internal environment within narrow limits, no matter how much the outside world changes. If the air grows cold, blood vessels constrict to preserve warmth. If sugar levels rise after a meal, hormones signal the cells to absorb glucose and restore balance. Even while asleep, the body continues this delicate negotiation, shifting, adjusting, and restoring equilibrium with a patience that never wavers. Consider the heart once more, that tireless engine of circulation. It beats roughly 100,000 times a day, propelling blood through an immense network of vessels that stretches for thousands of kilometers within the average adult. With each beat, oxygen and nutrients are delivered to tissues, and waste products are carried away. The blood does not simply move in circles. It connects every cell, every organ, every system, ensuring that all parts of the body remain nourished and alive. The sound of the heartbeat, though soft, represents the very rhythm of existence, a pulse that began before birth and continues faithfully, often unnoticed, for a lifetime. Surrounding this heartbeat are countless supporting rhythms: the rise and fall of the lungs, the gentle motion of the diaphragm, the shifting of gases within the alveoli, each a sign of life in motion. The digestive system follows its own rhythm too, the slow churning and movement that transforms food into energy. Even at the microscopic level, within each cell, molecules move in a constant dance, dividing, merging, reacting as the chemistry of life unfolds. It is humbling to realize that these countless functions have evolved to sustain a single purpose: continuity. The body's structure, its systems, and its chemistry all serve to keep life moving forward. Yet the body is not merely mechanical. It is sensitive, adaptable, and deeply responsive to experience. A thought can quicken the pulse. A calm breath can slow it down. Emotional states, joy, fear, peace, or sorrow, echo through physical systems, altering hormones, heart rate, and even cellular behavior. This intimate connection between body and mind reveals that physiology and emotion are two sides of the same coin, each shaping and influencing the other in a continuous loop of interaction. When viewed with gentle attention, the body becomes more than anatomy. It becomes a landscape of intelligence and cooperation. Every tissue and system is part of a silent conversation, exchanging signals, responding to change, maintaining the fragile miracle of life. This awareness invites a certain reverence. Within each of us, an entire civilization of cells works together without complaint or pause. The heart does not demand recognition for its labor. The lungs do not seek reward for their rhythm. The body simply persists, devoted to the quiet task of keeping us alive. As you listen and breathe, perhaps you can feel some of this quiet orchestration: the steady thrum of the pulse, the faint expansion of the chest, the warmth that spreads through the body. All are reminders that beneath stillness there is ceaseless activity, a gentle current of life moving through every fiber. The body asks for little but gives everything, and as you rest, it continues to work in silence, guiding you toward balance, healing, and calm. In this journey through the body's systems, we will explore each network in turn, not as separate subjects to memorize, but as harmonious parts of one living whole. We will look closely at the nerves that carry thought, the blood that nourishes, the lungs that breathe, and the skin that protects. We will see how every function supports another, and how, through this cooperation, the body maintains its precious equilibrium. The goal is not only to learn, but to feel the serenity that arises when knowledge is met with quiet understanding. For now, as this introduction draws to a close, let your attention rest softly on the idea of harmony. Within you, countless systems are working together, effortlessly, gracefully, keeping you alive and balanced. You need not control them or even notice them. They are constant companions, guiding you through each moment, each breath, each night of rest. In their unending rhythm lies the most gentle truth of all, that life itself is a continuous act of cooperation, a quiet and beautiful balance that asks only to be appreciated. 2. Levels of organization, from cells to systems. The body, at first glance, seems to be a single entity, one living whole, moving and breathing as a unified being. Yet within this unity lies an extraordinary complexity. Every heartbeat, every breath, every small motion of a finger is the product of countless microscopic interactions. The human form is built upon layers of organization, each one supporting the next, each one essential to the structure of life itself. From atoms to molecules, from cells to organs, and from organs to the full organism, the body's hierarchy is both intricate and beautiful in its precision. Imagine, for a moment, zooming in beyond what the eye can see, beneath the skin, beyond the layers of muscle and the flowing rivers of blood. There is a hidden world composed of particles too small to touch. Here, at the smallest scale, atoms form the building blocks of all matter: carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen. These familiar names represent the foundation upon which life is built. They combine in elegant patterns, forming molecules that carry energy, store information, and create structure. A molecule of water, simple yet essential, joins with others to form the fluid environment that sustains every cell. Complex molecules such as proteins, lipids, and carbohydrates provide the framework and function of life. Proteins act as enzymes, catalyzing reactions that sustain energy and growth. Lipids form the flexible boundaries of cells, shaping the delicate membranes that separate one internal world from another. Carbohydrates, with their chains of sugars, supply the energy that drives every motion and every thought. Each molecule performs a role, and together they create the chemistry of life. From this molecular foundation, the cell emerges the smallest unit of life, a self-contained universe of function. Each cell is like a tiny city, alive with movement and purpose. Within its walls, organelles perform specialized tasks. The mitochondria produce energy, the nucleus safeguards genetic instructions, and the endoplasmic reticulum folds and prepares proteins for their roles throughout the body. These processes continue day and night, unseen and unending, maintaining the delicate rhythm that allows life to persist. Cells come in many forms, each adapted to its purpose. A red blood cell, smooth and disc-shaped, glides easily through narrow vessels, delivering oxygen to tissues in every corner of the body. A neuron, long and slender, carries messages between distant regions of the brain and spinal cord. Muscle cells are built for contraction, their fibers arranged to create motion and strength. Even within this diversity, all cells share common features: a membrane that defines their boundaries, cytoplasm that fills their interiors, and DNA that carries the instructions for their existence. Life depends on the cooperation of these countless individual cells. Yet cells rarely exist alone. They gather in groups, forming tissues that share structure and purpose. There are 4 principal types of tissue in the human body: epithelial, connective, muscle, and nervous. Epithelial tissue forms protective coverings, lining the surfaces of organs and the passages of the respiratory and digestive tracts. It acts as both shield and gateway, controlling what enters and leaves the body. Connective tissue, as its name suggests, binds and supports. It holds organs in place, cushions them. Muscle tissue brings movement, the quiet contraction of the heart, the gentle rise and fall of the chest, the deliberate motion of limbs. Nervous tissue, intricate and sensitive, allows communication, carrying signals that coordinate every thought and action. Each tissue type, though distinct, relies on the others. Muscle depends on connective tissue for attachment. Nervous tissue depends on epithelial layers to protect delicate structures. This cooperation is not merely structural, it is a language of function, an ongoing conversation that allows the body to maintain its unity. When multiple tissues combine, they form organ structures with specific purposes that serve the organism as a whole. The heart, composed of muscle, connective, and nervous tissue, acts as the central pump of the circulatory system. The lungs, with their delicate alveoli lined by epithelial tissue, enable gas exchange, infusing the blood with oxygen and releasing carbon dioxide. The liver, intricate in design, filters and processes nutrients, managing energy and detoxification. Each organ has its own character, its own rhythm, yet none exists in isolation. Organs rarely work alone. They join forces to form organ systems, networks of cooperation designed to carry out the major functions of life. The digestive system, for instance, begins with the mouth and continues through the esophagus, stomach, intestines, liver, and pancreas. Together, these organs transform food into usable energy. The respiratory system brings oxygen into the body and expels carbon dioxide. The circulatory system distributes blood, while the nervous and endocrine systems oversee control and communication. Even the skeletal system, solid and enduring, works in concert with muscles and joints to provide movement and support. These systems are often taught as separate topics, yet in reality, they are threads of the same tapestry. Consider the simple act of taking a breath. The diaphragm contracts, expanding the lungs. Oxygen enters the bloodstream through the thin walls of alveoli. The circulatory system carries this oxygen to the heart, which pumps it onward to muscles and organs. The nervous system monitors the levels of carbon dioxide and adjusts the breathing rate as needed. In a few seconds, multiple systems have coordinated seamlessly, maintaining the balance necessary for life. The entire structure of the body, from molecules to organ systems, reflects one unbroken chain of organization. Each level contributes something new, something greater than the sum of its parts. This principle, known as emergence, explains why a living organism cannot be fully understood by studying its components in isolation. A single cell has life, but it is only when many cells cooperate that complex life appears. The patterns of organization seen in the body mirror those found throughout nature, the way rivers form networks, or how stars cluster into galaxies. Everywhere, order arises from cooperation, and complexity emerges from simplicity. This hierarchy of life also ensures resilience. When one part is damaged, others often adapt to maintain function. If a kidney is injured, the other increases its workload. If a section of the liver is removed, it can regenerate. This flexibility is built into the very fabric of biological organization. It is the body's quiet assurance that life continues, even under strain. At the top of this hierarchy stands the organism, the complete human being, composed of trillions of cells working in concert. Each person is a living example of the harmony that can arise from complexity. We often think of ourselves as singular individuals, yet within us exists an entire ecosystem of living components. Our bodies are home not only to our own cells, but to countless microorganisms that coexist in balance, aiding digestion, supporting immunity, and maintaining overall health. We are not alone within ourselves. We are colonies of life, joined together in cooperation. This layered organization, from the smallest atom to the full human form, offers a profound perspective on what it means to be alive. It reminds us that even the simplest particle contributes to the grand architecture of existence. Every motion of the body, every sensation, every thought depends on the coordination of countless small parts, each performing its role in silent precision. The body does not waste effort, nor does it neglect any detail. It is a masterpiece of natural design, built to sustain, adapt, and endure. As you imagine this structure, perhaps you can sense the quiet order beneath your own skin, the pulse of circulation, the rhythm of breathing. These layers of organization exist not only as biological facts but as a kind of music, an invisible harmony that plays within you at every moment. The body is not simply a machine. It is an evolving expression of balance and cooperation, a living reflection of nature's genius for order. In the parts to come, we will explore each of these systems in greater depth, observing how they communicate and support one another. For now, it is enough to rest in the understanding that life is built upon layers, each connected, each essential, each quietly contributing to the whole. The body is a masterpiece of organization, and within its silent architecture, the story of life continues, breath by breath, heartbeat by heartbeat, endlessly unfolding in calm precision. 3. The nervous system, the body's communication network. Within the vast and intricate structure of the human body lies a system of almost unimaginable complexity. The nervous system. It is the body's messenger, the silent conductor of the physiological orchestra. Every movement, every heartbeat, every thought, every sensation is shaped, guided, and regulated by this intricate network. It connects the outer world to the inner world, transforming light into vision, vibration into sound, touch into understanding. Without it, the body would be a collection of uncoordinated organs, each working without awareness of the others. With it, life becomes organized, purposeful, and responsive. At its heart, the nervous system is a web of communication. Through a delicate interplay of electrical impulses and chemical signals, it allows the body to sense its surroundings, interpret information, and respond appropriately. It is the system that lets you withdraw your hand from heat before conscious thought can intervene, that helps you navigate the rhythm of breathing even as you sleep, and that allows the mind to wander through memory and imagination. The speed and precision of this system are astonishing. Messages travel through the nerves faster than a blink, connecting distant parts of the body in fractions of a second. The nervous system is divided into two main parts: the central nervous system and the peripheral nervous system. The central nervous system, often called the command center, consists of the brain and spinal cord. It is enclosed within protective layers of bone and membranes, cushioned by cerebrospinal fluid that absorbs shocks and keeps the delicate tissues safe. The brain rests quietly in the skull, its surface folded and grooved to maximize the area available for complex thought and coordination. The spinal cord extends downward, a bundle of nerve fibers running through the vertebral column, carrying messages to and from the rest of the body. Together, they form the body's central processing unit, analyzing information, generating responses, and maintaining balance. The peripheral nervous system extends outward from this central hub, branching into every organ, muscle, and patch of skin. It is a vast web of connections that ensures every part of the body can send and receive information. Within the peripheral system are two main divisions: the somatic system, which governs voluntary movements and sensory input, and the autonomic system, which controls involuntary functions such as heartbeat, digestion, and glandular activity. The autonomic system itself has two complementary halves: the sympathetic and parasympathetic divisions working together to maintain equilibrium. The sympathetic system prepares the body for action, increasing heart rate and alertness, while the parasympathetic system restores calm, slowing the pulse and promoting rest. This balance is constant and quiet, a rhythmic dance between readiness and recovery that sustains life's delicate harmony. At the core of the nervous system's function are neurons, the specialized cells responsible for transmitting signals. Each neuron is a marvel of design, capable of generating and carrying electrical impulses across extraordinary distances. Though microscopic, neurons can span the length of the human body, from the spinal cord to the toes. They connect with one another through junctions known as synapses, where electrical signals are converted into chemical messengers called neurotransmitters. These molecules cross the narrow synaptic gap and bind to receptors on neighboring cells, passing the message along in a continuous flow of communication. A neuron's structure reflects its purpose. The cell body, or soma, contains the nucleus and maintains the health of the cell. Extending from it are branching dendrites, which receive signals from other neurons. From the soma also stretches a single, slender axon, the pathway for outgoing signals. Many axons are wrapped in a protective layer of myelin, a fatty substance that insulates the fiber and speeds the transmission of impulses. The signal itself, known as an action potential, travels as a wave of electrical change along the axon until it reaches the terminal, where it triggers the release of neurotransmitters. In this way, the nervous system functions as a vast network of tiny electrical and chemical exchanges, happening billions of times every second, forming the foundation of thought, movement, and awareness. It is easy to think of neurons as individual units, but they operate in vast assemblies. In the brain alone, there are roughly 86 billion neurons, each connecting to thousands of others. These connections form patterns, circuits, and pathways that give rise to every human experience. Some handle sensory information, light, sound, touch, taste, and smell. Others govern motion, directing muscles with exquisite precision. Still others manage abstract thought, memory, language, and emotion. Through these connections, the nervous system weaves the tapestry of consciousness itself. The brain, though occupying only about 2% of body weight, consumes nearly a fifth of the body's energy. Its activity never truly ceases, even in deep sleep. Different regions of the brain specialize in distinct tasks, yet they function together seamlessly. The cerebrum, the largest part, handles higher thought, reasoning, planning, language, and voluntary movement. The cerebellum, tucked beneath it, fine-tunes coordination and balance, ensuring that motion is smooth and precise. The brainstem, linking the brain to the spinal cord, oversees the automatic functions that sustain life: breathing, heart rate, and digestion. Surrounding and interconnecting these structures is a web of neural pathways that share information continuously, ensuring that no part of the body acts in isolation. Within this living network, the spinal cord serves as the main highway of communication between the brain and the body. Bundles of sensory neurons carry information upward to the brain, sensations of temperature, pressure, pain, and position, while motor neurons transmit instructions downward to muscles and organs. In some cases, the spinal cord can even act independently, coordinating reflexes that require immediate action. When a hand touches a hot surface, for example, the signal travels to the spinal cord, which instantly directs the muscles to withdraw before the brain has time to process the sensation. This design ensures protection through speed, a silent safeguard built into the body's framework. Beyond the biological detail lies a deeper beauty in how the nervous system integrates the physical and emotional dimensions of life. Every feeling we experience, from the warmth of affection to the tension of stress, manifests through the communication of neurons and the release of neurotransmitters. Serotonin brings a sense of calm and contentment. Dopamine produces pleasure and motivation. Adrenaline quickens the pulse, preparing the body for action. These chemical messengers blur the line between thought and physiology, revealing that the mind and body are not separate entities but intertwined aspects of one continuous process. The nervous system's influence extends into every corner of existence. It controls the rhythmic beating of the heart, the expansion of the lungs, the narrowing of pupils in bright light, and the delicate movements of fingers turning a page. It enables speech, learning, and memory. It allows us to perceive the world and to respond to it with intention. Through the senses, it collects information from the environment, translating external stimuli into electrical signals that the brain can interpret. The color of a sunset, the softness of fabric, the sound of distant rain, all these experiences exist only because neurons have carried the information inward and assembled it into perception. Despite its complexity, the nervous system operates with quiet reliability. It adapts constantly, forming new connections, repairing damaged ones, and refining pathways based on experience. This ability, known as neural plasticity, allows learning and memory to shape the brain over time. Every skill practiced, every thought repeated, every emotion felt leaves subtle traces within this network, strengthening certain pathways and weakening others. In this way, the nervous system is both stable and dynamic, rooted in structure but shaped by life itself. Even in moments of rest, it remains active, regulating heartbeat, digestion, and breathing. During sleep, the brain cycles through patterns of activity that consolidate memory, restore balance, and clear away metabolic waste. Dreams emerge from these rhythms, a mysterious reflection of neural activity weaving together fragments of experience. The nervous system never truly sleeps. It simply changes its mode, moving from alertness to restoration. In quiet reflection, one might imagine the nervous system as a shimmering web of light extending through the entire body. Each neuron flickers like a star, connecting to others in a vast constellation of awareness. Together, they form the essence of being thought, motion, memory, and sensation arising from the same intricate network. It is through this network that the body becomes aware of itself, able to move through the world with purpose and grace. As we continue our exploration of the body's systems, it becomes clear that the nervous system is both master and servant, guiding, regulating, and responding in perfect synchrony. It listens to every organ and communicates their needs, ensuring that balance is maintained. It is the whispering voice within, the unseen current that animates every gesture, every breath, and every moment of thought. To contemplate it is to marvel at the quiet intelligence of the body, a system so refined that it transforms chemistry into consciousness, silence into understanding, and life into awareness itself. 4. The endocrine system, the chemical messenger network. Throughout the human body, communication takes many forms. Some messages travel along electrical pathways through nerves, swift and immediate, while others move more slowly, carried by the steady flow of the bloodstream. This slower yet equally vital form of communication belongs to the endocrine system, a network of glands and hormones that maintains the body's internal harmony. Where the nervous system acts like a flash of lightning, fast and fleeting, the endocrine system resembles a river, calm and enduring, carrying its chemical messages to every corner of the body. It is through this system that growth is guided, metabolism balanced, and reproduction coordinated, ensuring that the delicate machinery of life continues to operate in synchrony. To understand the endocrine system is to appreciate the subtlety of biological control. It does not command with immediacy, but influences with persistence. Instead of electric impulses, It uses hormones, tiny molecules that act as messengers, instructing cells on when to grow, divide, produce energy. These hormones are released by glands scattered throughout the body, small but powerful structures such as the thyroid, the adrenal glands, the pancreas, and the reproductive organs. Together, these glands form a quiet network that communicates with the brain and with one another, adjusting the body's internal conditions to meet the changing demands of life. At the center of this network lies the hypothalamus, a small but crucial region of the brain that bridges the nervous and endocrine systems. It acts as both observer and coordinator, constantly monitoring the body's state temperature, hunger, thirst, and stress, and sending signals to the pituitary gland. The pituitary, often called the master gland, sits just below the brain and releases hormones that influence nearly every other gland in the body. When the hypothalamus detects an imbalance, such as a drop in temperature or a change in energy needs, it directs the pituitary to respond. The pituitary then releases its own hormones, which travel through the bloodstream to target glands, prompting them to adjust their activity. In this way, the body maintains equilibrium, or homeostasis, through an elegant chain of command built on trust and precision. The thyroid gland, nestled in the neck just below the larynx, is one of the most influential organs in this system. It produces hormones that regulate metabolism, the rate at which the body converts food into energy. When thyroid hormones are abundant, the body's engines run faster. Heart rate increases, temperature rises, and energy consumption climbs. When levels fall, metabolism slows, conserving energy and reducing output. The thyroid's activity is controlled by the pituitary through a feedback loop. When enough hormone circulates in the blood, the pituitary quiets its signals, maintaining balance. This self-regulating cycle is a hallmark of endocrine function, a constant conversation between glands, each listening and responding with exquisite sensitivity. Near the thyroid sit the parathyroid glands, 4 small nodules that play a crucial role in calcium regulation. Calcium is essential not only for strong bones but also for muscle contraction, nerve conduction, and blood clotting. When calcium levels dip too low, the parathyroid glands release parathyroid hormone, prompting the bones to release stored calcium and the kidneys to retain it. When calcium levels climb too high, the process reverses. This ongoing regulation occurs silently, moment by moment, preserving the mineral balance necessary for the body's most fundamental operations. Further down the body, perched atop each kidney, rest the adrenal glands, small, triangular structures with immense responsibility. They are the body's first responders to stress, producing hormones that prepare the body for action. The outer layer, or cortex, releases cortisol and aldosterone, which influence metabolism and salt balance. The inner core, or medulla, secretes adrenaline and noradrenaline, the hormones that heighten alertness and mobilize energy during times of urgency. When faced with danger or strain, the adrenal glands flood the bloodstream with these powerful chemicals, quickening the heartbeat, dilating the airways, and sharpening the senses. Yet just as importantly, when the threat has passed, the endocrine system restores calm, lowering hormone levels, and returning the body to equilibrium. The pancreas, lying quietly behind the stomach, plays a dual role as both an endocrine and exocrine organ. Its endocrine function involves the regulation of blood sugar, one of the body's most tightly controlled processes. The pancreas releases 2 opposing hormones, insulin and glucagon, that work in concert to maintain balance. After a meal, as glucose levels rise, insulin signals cells to absorb the sugar for energy or storage. Between meals, when glucose levels fall, glucagon prompts the liver to release stored sugar into the bloodstream. This continual push and pull keeps energy available to cells while preventing harmful extremes. The harmony of this balance is easily disturbed, and when it fails, conditions such as diabetes arise, reminders of how delicately the endocrine system maintains its order. Reproduction, too, is governed by the patient work of hormones. In females, the ovaries secrete estrogen and progesterone, which regulate the menstrual cycle, influence bone strength, and prepare the body for pregnancy. In males, the testes produce testosterone, guiding the development of muscle, bone, and reproductive tissues. These hormones are also connected to mood and energy, linking physical processes to emotional well-being. Though often associated with reproduction, these chemicals have effects that reach far beyond influencing behavior, motivation, and even the rhythm of sleep and wakefulness. The endocrine system's influence over sleep arises in part from the pineal gland, a small structure deep within the brain. It produces melatonin, a hormone that responds to cycles of light and darkness. As evening falls and light fades, melatonin levels rise, guiding the body into rest. At dawn, as light returns, melatonin production decreases, and the body awakens once more. This rhythm, known as the circadian cycle, governs much of human physiology, not only sleep, but also digestion, temperature, and hormone release. It is an ancient biological rhythm, rooted in the patterns of day and night, aligning human life with the turning of the earth. What is striking about the endocrine system is its interconnectedness. Each gland, though seemingly independent, is part of a vast web of feedback and regulation. The hypothalamus influences the pituitary, which in turn directs the thyroid, adrenals, and gonads. The hormones produced by these glands circle back to inform the brain of the body's state, creating loops of information that ensure stability. This self-correcting design resembles a conversation that never ends, a dialogue carried by molecules instead of words, quiet but constant, guiding the body's internal climate through every change. Despite its gentle pace, the endocrine system is immensely powerful. It can shape the course of growth from childhood to adulthood, direct the body's response to danger, influence emotional states, and maintain the chemistry of life itself. When hormones fluctuate, their effects ripple outward. A surge of adrenaline can make the heart race. A rise in cortisol can sharpen focus. An imbalance of thyroid hormones can alter energy, mood, and weight. These effects remind us that the invisible messages circulating in the blood have tangible, profound impacts on how we feel, act, and think. In times of stress, the nervous and endocrine systems work side by side. The nervous system reacts first, triggering the release of signals that prompt the adrenal glands into action. Once the immediate response has passed, the endocrine system continues its work more slowly, using hormones to restore calm. This partnership reflects a broader theme within the body: the interplay between speed and steadiness, between impulse and balance. The nervous system lights the spark. The endocrine system maintains the glow. As with all aspects of the body, the endocrine system performs its duties quietly, without conscious command. You do not think about releasing insulin after a meal, nor do you consciously decide to produce cortisol in the face of challenge. These processes unfold automatically, guided by ancient biological wisdom. Even now, as you breathe and rest, hormones are moving through your bloodstream, coordinating the work of organs and maintaining balance. The beauty of the endocrine system lies in this silent persistence. It is the body's gentle regulator, the keeper of equilibrium, ensuring that every cell receives the correct message at the correct moment. Whether in the rush of waking or the calm of sleep, its chemical messengers continue their work, harmonizing the physical with the emotional, the immediate with the enduring. To contemplate the endocrine system is to recognize the elegance of life's design, a system that uses chemistry to create balance, one that connects the smallest cell to the grand rhythm of the whole organism. Each molecule of hormone carries meaning. Each gland contributes to the symphony of internal communication. Within this quiet network, the body's wisdom reveals itself, not through noise or speed, but through patience, balance, and a devotion to the timeless art of keeping everything in harmony. 5. The cardiovascular system, circulation and flow. Within the body's quiet depths, there moves a rhythm older than thought itself, the steady beat of the heart. Long before the mind forms its first idea, before the first breath is drawn, the heart begins its pulsing work, setting in motion the flow that will sustain an entire lifetime. This is the realm of the cardiovascular system, the body's circulatory network, a continuous current that carries oxygen, nutrients, and warmth to every cell. It is a system both powerful and gentle, ceaseless in its movement, faithful in its duty. In its unending motion, the heart tells the story of life of giving, receiving, and maintaining balance. The cardiovascular system is a marvel of design. At its center lies the heart, a muscular organ no larger than a closed fist, yet capable of propelling blood through a network of vessels that stretches for tens of thousands of kilometers within the human body. Every minute, it sends oxygen-rich blood outward through arteries and draws it back again through veins, maintaining a perfect cycle of exchange. This circulation is continuous, looping endlessly from the heart to the body and back again, connecting every organ and tissue in a fluid communion. Each heartbeat is a coordinated act of precision. The heart is divided into 4 chambers, 2 atria that receive blood, and 2 ventricles that send it forth. The right side of the heart collects deoxygenated blood returning from the body and pumps it to the lungs through the pulmonary arteries. There, within the delicate air sacs called alveoli, the blood releases carbon dioxide and absorbs fresh oxygen. The left side of the heart then receives this oxygenated blood and pumps it through the aorta, the largest artery in the body, distributing it to the tissues that need it most. This rhythmic cycle from heart to lungs to body and back again repeats about once every second, an unbroken loop of life's essential exchange. The heart's strength lies in its muscular walls, particularly the myocardium, which contracts rhythmically under the guidance of its own built-in electrical system. Within the right atrium lies a small cluster of specialized cells known as the sinoatrial node, the body's natural pacemaker. It generates the electrical impulses that set the heart's tempo, spreading through the cardiac tissue in waves that coordinate contraction. These signals travel from the atria to the ventricles through the atrioventricular node and along bundles of fibers, ensuring that each chamber works in harmony. Even if all external control were removed, the heart would continue to beat on its own, guided by its internal rhythm. It is self-sustaining, self-regulating, a pulse that persists even in silence. Blood itself is the life-carrying medium that makes the system whole. It is more than a red liquid. It is a living tissue composed of cells suspended in plasma. Red blood cells, or erythrocytes, are its most numerous travelers, ferrying oxygen through the protein hemoglobin, which binds the gas with remarkable efficiency. These cells have no nucleus, leaving more room for the oxygen they carry, and they live for about 4 months before being replaced by new ones from the bone marrow. White blood cells, though far fewer in number, serve as the guardians of the body, defending against infection and removing debris. Platelets, small and fragmentary, play their own vital role by clotting blood when a vessel is damaged, sealing wounds, and preventing loss. Together, these elements form a community of cooperation, each type performing its role in the greater cycle of circulation. The journey of blood through the vessels is a graceful one. Arteries carry blood away from the heart under high pressure, their muscular walls expanding and contracting with each pulse. As they branch into smaller arterioles and capillaries, the flow slows and spreads, allowing the exchange of gases, nutrients, and waste between blood and tissues. Within the capillaries, oxygen leaves the bloodstream to nourish the cells, while carbon dioxide and other wastes pass in the opposite direction, ready to be carried away. From there, the blood begins its return journey through veins, which gather it and guide it back to the heart. Unlike arteries, veins rely on a series of one-way valves and the gentle squeeze of surrounding muscles to move blood against gravity. Each step of this flow is carefully balanced, ensuring that no part of the body is left untouched by the nourishing stream. The cardiovascular system's purpose extends far beyond transport. It is also a regulator, helping maintain the stability of the body's internal environment. Through its control of blood flow, the body can direct warmth to the skin on a cold day or preserve core temperature when heat escapes too quickly. The vessels constrict or widen in response to need, guided by signals from the nervous and endocrine systems. Hormones and chemical messengers travel through the bloodstream, reaching distant targets to coordinate growth, repair, and response. Even emotions leave their signature here: the quickened pulse of excitement, the slower beat of calm, the fluttering sensation of anticipation. The heart responds to the mind as readily as to the body, reminding us that thought and physiology are bound by shared rhythm. The circulatory system also serves as a messenger of waste removal, carrying byproducts away from cells to be filtered and expelled. The kidneys receive a constant supply of blood, filtering out excess water, salts, and metabolic waste to maintain chemical balance. The liver, too, acts as a guardian of purity, processing toxins and recycling valuable components. Through these functions, the blood not only sustains but cleanses, ensuring that the internal environment remains clear and balanced. What makes the cardiovascular system so extraordinary is its constancy. From the moment of birth until the final breath, the heart never ceases its work. It beats over 100,000 times each day, moving about 7,000 liters of blood through the body. And yet, this tireless motion is rarely noticed. It does not seek attention. It simply continues, devoted to its rhythm. Even in deep sleep, when consciousness drifts away, the heart remains faithful, its quiet contractions echoing the persistence of life itself. Every system in the body depends on the circulation it provides. The brain, though only a small portion of total body mass, receives a fifth of the blood supply at any given moment. Muscles rely on the constant delivery of oxygen to maintain strength and coordination. The skin, lungs, digestive organs, and even bones are linked by the same unbroken flow. When circulation falters, every function feels its absence. This interdependence reflects the unity of the human organism, the way each part supports and depends upon the others, sustained by the gentle pulse that travels through them all. The heart, often regarded as the seat of emotion in poetry and tradition, earns that symbolism through its unwavering devotion to life. It mirrors the patterns of feeling, speeding in joy, slowing in rest, trembling in fear, and steadying in peace. Its rhythm changes with our moods, responding to thought and experience. This connection between heart and emotion is not mere metaphor, but a physiological truth. Through the autonomic nervous system and hormones like adrenaline, emotion shapes heartbeat, and heartbeat, in turn, influences perception and calm. It is no wonder that across cultures and centuries, the heart has been seen as both the source of vitality and the symbol of the spirit within. If one could listen closely enough, the body's inner world would sound like a soft tide, the rush of blood through arteries, the murmur of valves opening and closing, the faint percussion of heartbeats echoing through the chest. These sounds are the music of life, repeating tirelessly, soothing in their constancy. They are reminders that within stillness, motion continues. Within silence, energy flows. The cardiovascular system, though hidden, is a living river, and every pulse is a wave that carries sustenance to the shores of each cell. As you rest, the heart continues its gentle work, maintaining the quiet equilibrium that supports existence. It does not ask for awareness, yet it deserves wonder, for in every heartbeat lies the persistence of life, and in every drop of blood flows the memory of the generations that came before. The cardiovascular system connects the smallest cell to the vastness of human experience, bridging motion and rest, body and mind, the individual, and the living world. To understand it is to feel the pulse of continuity itself, the steady, enduring rhythm that carries us through all the moments of being, from the first to the last, in an endless and peaceful flow. 6. The respiratory system, the breath of life. There is a rhythm that begins the moment we enter the world and continues unbroken through every waking hour and every night of sleep. It is the rhythm of breath, the rise and fall of the chest, the exchange of air, the quiet movement that connects the body to the atmosphere around it. Though we seldom think about it, breathing is the body's most constant act of connection, the invisible thread that ties us to life itself. Through each breath, oxygen flows inward to nourish the cells, and carbon dioxide drifts outward, carrying away the residue of living. This delicate balance between inhalation and exhalation, between taking in and letting go, forms the essence of the respiratory system, a network of organs and pathways dedicated to sustaining every living moment. The act of breathing is simple on the surface, yet profoundly intricate beneath. Each inhalation begins with the diaphragm, a dome-shaped muscle that separates the chest from the abdomen. When it contracts, it moves downward, creating more space in the chest cavity. The lungs respond like soft balloons, expanding as air rushes in through the nose or mouth, down the trachea, and into the branching passages of the bronchi. With each gentle pull of air, oxygen travels deeper into the lungs until it reaches the tiny air sacs known as alveoli, millions of them, clustered like grapes, each one a site of exchange between air and blood. Here, the oxygen crosses into the capillaries, binding to red blood cells, while carbon dioxide, the quiet waste of metabolism, passes from the blood into the air to be released on the next exhalation. This cycle occurs about 12 to 20 times a minute, though it slows in rest and quickens in exertion. It continues effortlessly, guided by the body's internal controls, adjusting to every need. When the body requires more oxygen, as in exercise or stress, breathing deepens and quickens. When calm returns, the breath slows, restoring balance. Behind these automatic adjustments lies the respiratory center in the brainstem, a cluster of neurons that monitor the levels of oxygen, carbon dioxide, and pH in the blood. Through this quiet supervision, the body ensures that no thought or will is required to sustain life. Breathing simply happens, as constant and dependable as the turning of the earth. The lungs themselves are extraordinary organs, soft, spongy, and expansive, filling most of the chest cavity. They are not symmetrical. The right lung has 3 lobes, while the left has 2, leaving space for the heart. Their surfaces are coated in a thin, slippery membrane called the pleura, which reduces friction as they expand and contract. Within them, an intricate network of airways branches more than 20 times, dividing and subdividing until air reaches even the most distant alveolus. This immense internal surface, roughly the size of a tennis court, allows for an astonishing efficiency of gas exchange. Every breath brings new life to the body's cells, and every exhalation releases the byproducts of their work. The respiratory system is more than a mechanical exchange of gases. It is a vital link between the body and the world beyond. Each inhalation draws in the atmosphere that has circled the planet for millions of years, a blend of elements shared by every living creature. In this way, breathing connects all life. The air you inhale has been part of oceans, forests, mountains, and clouds pass through countless lungs before yours. With each breath, you participate in the global rhythm of respiration, a silent communion that unites all living things in an endless cycle of renewal. Beyond the lungs, the respiratory system also serves as a gatekeeper, protecting the delicate tissues within. The airways are lined with cilia, tiny hair-like structures that move in coordinated waves, and with mucus that traps dust, bacteria, and other particles. Together, they sweep impurities away from the lungs and toward the throat, where they can be expelled or swallowed. Even the simple act of sneezing or coughing is part of this defense, a reflexive clearing that keeps the pathways open and clean. The nose, too, plays a role in protection and preparation, warming and humidifying the air before it reaches the lungs, filtering out particles with fine hairs and moist membranes. Every breath, then, is refined before it enters the deeper chambers of the body, preserving the purity of the exchange within. Oxygen, once inside the bloodstream, becomes the currency of cellular energy. It is used in a process known as cellular respiration, where nutrients such as glucose are broken down within the mitochondria of cells to produce energy in the form of adenosine triphosphate, or ATP. This energy fuels every action the body performs, from the contraction of a single muscle fiber to the formation of a thought. Without oxygen, these reactions falter, and the body quickly loses its equilibrium. Thus, the respiratory system and the circulatory system work as partners, one drawing in the air, the other distributing it to every cell. Their cooperation exemplifies the unity that defines all living processes. The simplicity of breathing conceals its deep influence on the mind. Each breath is both a physical act and an emotional rhythm. When anxiety rises, breathing becomes shallow and rapid, reflecting tension. When calm prevails, it slows and deepens, restoring peace. This connection between breath and emotion is more than symbolic. It is physiological. The vagus nerve, which connects the brain to the lungs and heart, responds to the pace of breathing, influencing heart rate and relaxation. Slow, measured breathing stimulates the parasympathetic nervous system, the body's mechanism for rest and recovery, lowering blood pressure, calming the mind, and fostering equilibrium. In this way, the simple act of mindful breathing becomes a bridge between body and consciousness, a tool for harmony that has been recognized by countless cultures across time. The respiratory system also plays an intimate role in sound and speech. The air that passes through the larynx causes the vocal cords to vibrate, producing sound. By shaping this sound with the mouth, tongue, and lips, the breath becomes voice, and voice becomes communication. Every word ever spoken, every song ever sung, has been carried on a current of air drawn from the lungs. The respiratory system, therefore, is not only the foundation of life, but also the foundation of expression, transforming the invisible motion of air into the audible shapes of thought. Even in stillness, breathing continues as a quiet companion. During sleep, the rhythm slows and deepens, matching the tranquil state of the body. The brain monitors and adjusts this rhythm, ensuring oxygen continues to reach every cell. In dreams, as consciousness drifts, the breath remains faithful, a subtle wave carrying life through the night. When the body stirs again at dawn, the first inhalation reconnects the sleeper to the waking world, renewing the cycle of exchange. Breathing also mirrors the cycles of nature, expansion and release, intake and letting go, creation and dissolution. It reflects the tides of the sea, the waxing and waning of the moon, the opening and closing of flowers and sunlight. Through this gentle pattern, the body participates in the universal rhythm of existence. Inhaling, we draw in the elements of life. Exhaling, we give them back, joining the ceaseless flow that moves through all living beings. From the smallest insect to the largest whale, every creature shares this exchange. Some draw air through lungs, others through gills or spiracles, but the principle remains the same: to take in what sustains and to release what is no longer needed. In humans, the respiratory system is both functional and poetic, an ever-present reminder of balance. Each breath nourishes, cleanses, and restores, an act so constant that it fades from awareness, yet so vital that it defines existence itself. To reflect on the respiratory system is to become aware of this simple truth. Life is a continuous conversation between body and world. Every breath is both a beginning and an ending, a taking in and a giving back. The air that fills the lungs is never truly ours. It passes through, sustaining us for a moment before returning to the atmosphere to sustain another. In this exchange lies a quiet wisdom, the understanding that life is shared, that survival depends on harmony, and that within the ordinary act of breathing lies the most profound expression of connection. As you rest, notice the gentle rhythm within your own chest, the soft rise and fall that has carried you through every moment of your life. It asks for no effort, no awareness, only trust. With each breath, your body renews itself, nourished by the same air that has circled the world countless times. The respiratory system, faithful and unending, continues its work in silence, reminding you that even in stillness, there is movement. Even in quiet, there is life. 7. The digestive system, nourishment and energy. Every living being depends on a constant source of energy, and within the human body, that energy begins its journey through the quiet, deliberate work of the digestive system. It is a process so familiar and yet so remarkable, transforming the food we eat into the nutrients that build our tissues, fuel our movements, and sustain our every heartbeat. The digestive system, though often thought of in mechanical terms, is one of the body's most graceful symphonies, a series of rhythmic motions, secretions, and transformations that turn the raw materials of the outside world into the living essence of the self. Digestion begins before a single bite has been swallowed. The sight, smell, and even the thought of food can awaken the body's internal preparations. Salivary glands stir to life, releasing moisture that softens and begins to break down food. The stomach, waiting in its quiet chamber, starts to secrete acids and enzymes. This anticipatory reaction reflects the deep integration of the senses and the body's internal rhythms. It is as though the body remembers what is to come and readies itself for the task ahead. The journey truly begins in the mouth, where food meets the first stage of digestion. Teeth, shaped for different functions, work in cooperation: incisors slicing, canines tearing, molars grinding, reducing food to smaller pieces that are easier to process. As this occurs, saliva mingles with the food, introducing an enzyme called amylase that begins to break down complex carbohydrates into simpler sugars. What seems like an act of simple chewing is, in truth, the beginning of a long and elegant chain of events, each one carefully timed and precisely coordinated. The tongue, a muscular and sensitive organ, gathers the softened food into a rounded mass known as a bolus, and gently pushes it toward the back of the mouth. From there, swallowing takes over, a reflexive act guided by the nervous system. The bolus passes through the pharynx, where a small flap called the epiglottis closes over the airway, ensuring that food enters the esophagus rather than the lungs. This moment, brief and seamless, demonstrates the body's quiet intelligence, systems of movement and protection, working together in perfect balance. The esophagus, a muscular tube roughly 25 centimeters long, carries food from the mouth to the stomach through a wave-like motion called peristalsis. This gentle but powerful movement continues throughout the digestive tract, propelling food along its path without the need for thought or control. At the lower end of the esophagus, a ring of muscle known as the lower esophageal sphincter opens to allow the bolus into the stomach, then closes again to prevent acid from flowing back upward. The stomach is a place of transformation. Within its folds and chambers, food is churned, mixed, and broken down by powerful gastric juices. The inner lining of the stomach secretes hydrochloric acid and enzymes such as pepsin, which begin the digestion of proteins. At the same time, the stomach's muscular walls move rhythmically, turning solid food into a semi-liquid mixture known as chyme. This process may take several hours, and during that time, the stomach's protective lining shields it from its own acidic environment. The balance between digestion and protection is precise. Even a small disruption can cause discomfort. A reminder of how finely tuned the system truly is. When digestion in the stomach is complete, the chyme is released slowly into the small intestine, the true center of nutrient absorption. This long coiled organ, stretching several meters in length, is divided into 3 sections: the duodenum, jejunum, and ileum. In the duodenum, digestive fluids from the liver, gallbladder, and pancreas join the chyme, adding enzymes and bile to further break down fats, proteins, and carbohydrates. Bile, produced by the liver and stored in the gallbladder, acts as an emulsifier, allowing fats to dissolve and mix with water so that enzymes can reach and digest them more easily. The pancreas contributes its own secretions, containing enzymes such as lipase, protease, and amylase, each tailored to a specific nutrient. As digestion progresses, the small intestine becomes a site of quiet absorption. Its inner walls are lined with millions of tiny finger-like projections called villi, each covered in even smaller structures known as microvilli. These increase the surface area dramatically, allowing the maximum extraction of nutrients from the chyme. Oxygen-rich blood flows through the capillaries of the villi, carrying absorbed nutrients to the liver via the portal vein, where they are processed, stored, or distributed throughout the body. It is here that the food we eat ceases to be separate from us. It becomes part of the body's living tissue, transformed into energy, structure, and vitality. Beyond this point, the remaining material, now largely stripped of nutrients, passes into the large intestine, or colon. Here, water and electrolytes are absorbed, converting the liquid remnants into solid waste. The colon also serves as home to a vast community of microorganisms, collectively known as the gut microbiome. These bacteria, numbering in the trillions, perform essential roles in digestion and health. They help break down fibers that the body cannot digest on its own, produce vitamins such as K and B12, and support immune function. The relationship between the human body and these microbes is one of ancient cooperation, a partnership that has evolved over millions of years. The final stage of the digestive journey is elimination. Waste products that remain after absorption are stored temporarily in the rectum and then expelled through the anus. Though often regarded as mundane, this step completes the circle of digestion, the cycle of intake, transformation, and release. What is no longer needed returns to the world, enriching the soil and continuing the larger cycles of nature. The digestive system, while physical in function, also reflects a deeper rhythm of life, the balance between receiving and releasing, nourishing and letting go. It demonstrates the body's capacity for transformation, for turning the external into the internal, the inert into the living. Each meal we consume becomes part of the body's story, its molecules rearranged into muscle, bone, and energy. In this sense, digestion is not merely biological. It is symbolic of renewal, of the constant blending of self and world. Beyond its mechanical beauty, the digestive system is also attuned to emotion and thought. The stomach tightens with anxiety, the appetite fades in grief, or hunger grows in comfort. This connection arises from the network of nerves that link the gut to the brain, often called the enteric nervous system, sometimes referred to as the second brain. It contains millions of neurons that operate independently yet communicate constantly with the central nervous system. Through this connection, the mind influences digestion, and digestion, in turn, influences the mind. The quiet gurgle of the intestines, the feeling of fullness or emptiness, even intuition itself, all may trace their origins to this intricate dialogue between brain and gut. At rest, the digestive system continues its work in silence, breaking down food long after meals have ended. While we sleep, intestines carry out their rhythmic contractions, absorbing nutrients and maintaining balance. It is an act of quiet diligence, a reminder that even in stillness, the body labors gently for our well-being. To reflect on the digestive system is to marvel at the patience of nature within us. From the moment food enters the mouth to the instant its remnants leave the body, countless steps unfold in perfect sequence, each dependent on the last. It is a process shaped by chemistry, movement, and time. Yet it is also deeply poetic, a daily miracle that sustains every heartbeat and every thought. As you rest and breathe, your body continues this cycle without pause, turning nourishment into strength, turning the world around you into the essence of who you are. The digestive system, quiet and tireless, serves as a reminder that life depends not only on motion or thought, but on the gentle transformations that take place unseen. Rhythmic work that converts the simple act of eating into the sustaining energy of being alive. 8. The urinary system. Filtration and balance. Within the quiet depths of the human body, there exists a system devoted to purity and balance, a natural filtration network that works tirelessly to keep the internal environment in harmony. This is the urinary system, the body's gentle caretaker of fluids, charged with the task of removing waste, maintaining chemical equilibrium, and preserving the delicate composition of blood. Though it functions without sound or notice, it is essential to every heartbeat, every breath, and every cell. The urinary system is the guardian of inner constancy, ensuring that the chemistry of life remains stable no matter how the world outside may change. Every moment, the body's cells perform their endless work, absorbing nutrients, generating energy, and releasing byproducts. These waste materials, particularly urea and carbon dioxide, must be removed to prevent accumulation. While the lungs exhale carbon dioxide, the urinary system manages the remainder, filtering the blood and excreting what is no longer needed. This act of cleansing is continuous and precise, guided by organs of extraordinary sensitivity and structure. At the heart of the urinary system are the kidneys, two bean-shaped organs located just below the rib cage, one on either side of the spine. Each kidney, though small enough to fit in the palm of a hand, contains millions of microscopic filtering units known as nephrons. It is within these nephrons that the blood's purification takes place. Every day, about 150 liters of blood pass through each kidney, yet only a small fraction of that, about 1.5 liters, is excreted as urine. The rest is reclaimed, refined, and returned to circulation. The precision of this process is astonishing, a testament to the body's quiet engineering. Blood enters the kidney through the renal artery, a vessel that branches into smaller capillaries until it reaches the glomerulus, a delicate network of tiny filters within each nephron. The glomerulus allows water, salts, and small molecules to pass through while retaining blood cells and larger proteins. The filtered fluid, now called filtrate, then travels through a winding pathway, the renal tubule, where an intricate series of exchanges takes place. Along this path, useful substances such as glucose, amino acids, and certain ions are reabsorbed into the bloodstream, while excess salts, waste products, and toxins remain behind. The composition of this fluid is constantly adjusted, fine-tuned to the body's needs at every moment. This dynamic process of filtration and reabsorption allows the kidneys to maintain homeostasis, the internal balance upon which all life depends. They regulate the volume of water in the body, ensuring that hydration remains within safe limits. When the body is dehydrated, concentrated urine. When fluid intake is high, they release more, allowing balance to return. The same delicate regulation applies to electrolytes, sodium, potassium, calcium, and others, each vital for the electrical signals that power muscles and nerves. The kidneys monitor these substances continually, adjusting their reabsorption to preserve equilibrium. One of the most elegant aspects of this system is its collaboration with hormones. The kidneys do not act in isolation. They respond to signals from the endocrine system that reflect the body's wider needs. The hormone aldosterone, produced by the adrenal glands, prompts the kidneys to retain sodium and water, maintaining blood pressure and fluid balance. Antidiuretic hormone, or ADH, released by the pituitary gland, instructs the kidneys to conserve water when the body's levels run low. In this way, the urinary system becomes part of a vast communication network, responding moment by moment to preserve the constancy of the internal environment. After filtration and reabsorption are complete, the remaining fluid, now truly urine, is collected in the renal pelvis and flows into narrow tubes called ureters. These tubes, about 25 centimeters long, carry urine from the kidneys to the bladder through gentle waves of muscular contraction known as peristalsis, the same motion that moves food through the digestive tract. The bladder, a hollow, flexible organ, serves as a temporary reservoir. Its walls, lined with layers of smooth muscle and elastic tissue, allow it to expand as it fills. On average, it can hold between 400 and 600 milliliters of urine before signaling the need to empty. This sensation arises through nerves that communicate with the brain, creating awareness without conscious effort, a subtle reminder of the body's constant monitoring. When the moment of release arrives, a complex coordination unfolds. The bladder contracts while two sphincters circular. Muscles at its base relax, allowing urine to pass through the urethra and leave the body. In infants, this process occurs reflexively, but as humans grow, it becomes a voluntary act, guided by the brain's control centers. Even this simple act reflects the cooperation of systems, muscular, nervous, and urinary, each contributing to an essential rhythm of cleansing and renewal. Beyond its role in waste removal, the urinary system serves several other quiet yet critical functions. The kidneys help regulate blood pressure by controlling the volume of fluid in circulation and by releasing an enzyme called renin, which triggers a series of chemical reactions that constrict blood vessels when pressure drops too low. They also produce erythropoietin, a hormone that stimulates the bone marrow to produce red blood cells when oxygen levels are low. In this way, the kidneys act not only as filters but as communicators, sensing changes in the internal environment and orchestrating responses that keep the body in harmony. The clarity of the urinary system's purpose belies the complexity of its design. Each nephron is a masterpiece of biological architecture, a delicate loop of capillaries and tubules whose structure determines its function. The loop of Henle, a distinctive segment of the nephron, concentrates urine by creating a gradient of salt within the kidney's tissue, allowing water to be reabsorbed efficiently. This mechanism, though microscopic, is one of the most refined examples of nature's precision. Through it, the body can adapt to varying conditions, conserving water in times of scarcity or releasing it in abundance when balance demands it. In its quiet way, the urinary system mirrors the rhythm of life itself, the constant act of taking in, transforming, and releasing. What the body no longer needs is returned to the world, allowing renewal to occur. This process of elimination is not one of loss, but of balance, a gentle exchange that keeps the inner world clear and steady. Without it, the delicate chemistry of the body would quickly falter. With it, life continues in tranquil order. The relationship between the urinary system and the rest of the body is one of deep interdependence. The cardiovascular system supplies the kidneys with the blood they purify. The nervous and endocrine systems provide signals that adjust their work. Even the digestive system contributes by determining what nutrients and waste enter the bloodstream in the first place. Together, they form a circle of cooperation, each system maintaining its own function while ensuring the well-being of the whole. Though the process is constant, it is not hurried. The kidneys, the bladder, and the intricate web of vessels work at a steady, measured pace. They do not rush. They regulate. Their rhythm is one of patience and precision, mirroring the unhurried flow of a stream that cleanses as it moves. The very steadiness of this system brings calm, a reassurance that the body's inner balance is being maintained with every passing moment. To contemplate the urinary system is to recognize the beauty of renewal. It reminds us that even within the most ordinary functions lies extraordinary design. The kidneys, so modest in size, carry out a task that sustains the purity of every drop of blood, maintaining the balance upon which all life depends. Every beat of the heart sends blood to them, and every heartbeat that follows depends on their quiet labor. As you rest and breathe, this system continues its silent work. The kidneys filter, the bladder fills, and the body maintains its equilibrium. It is a cycle as natural as breathing, as steady as the pulse of the heart. The urinary system, in its patience and precision, embodies one of the great truths of life, that balance is not achieved through force, but through gentle constancy, through the continuous rhythm of giving and release. In its silent flow, it preserves the serenity of the inner world, ensuring that within the body, as in nature, the waters remain clear and still. 9. The lymphatic and immune systems. Defense and quiet motion. Throughout the body flows a second, quieter river, a network that mirrors the circulatory system, but moves at a gentler pace. This is the lymphatic system, a delicate web of vessels, nodes, and organs that carries with it the essence of purification and protection. It is not driven by the steady force of the heart, but by the soft movements of muscles, the rhythm of breathing, and the subtle pulses of life itself. The lymphatic and immune systems work together as guardians of balance, preserving the body's integrity, defending it from harm, and maintaining the clarity of its internal environment. Their work is not dramatic or loud. It is patient, precise, and continuous, a defense in quiet motion. The lymphatic system begins in the smallest spaces of the body, among the tissues where blood vessels deliver oxygen and nutrients. As blood circulates, a portion of its plasma seeps through the capillary walls, bathing the cells in a clear fluid, rich with nutrients. Most of this fluid returns directly to the bloodstream, but a small amount remains in the tissues. If it were left there, the body would swell, and pressure would rise within the cells. To prevent this, the lymphatic vessels collect the excess fluid, now called lymph, and return it to the bloodstream. Along the way, the lymph passes through checkpoints known as lymph nodes, where it is filtered and cleansed of unwanted materials. The vessels that carry lymph form a vast and intricate network, extending through nearly every region of the body. Unlike veins and arteries, these vessels have no central pump. Instead, lymph moves slowly, guided by the contraction of nearby muscles, the gentle motion of breathing, and the opening and closing of small valves that prevent it from flowing backward. It is a system defined by stillness and persistence. Its work continues whether one is awake or asleep, active or at rest. The lymphatic system reminds us that strength can be subtle, that protection can exist without aggression. Within the lymph nodes, the immune system stands watch. These small, bean-shaped structures, scattered throughout the body in clusters beneath the jaw, in the armpits, along the intestines, and behind the knees, serve as meeting grounds for immune cells. Here, lymphocytes, the white blood cells that form the backbone of immune defense patrol for signs of infection or abnormality. When they detect foreign particles, such as bacteria, viruses, or damaged cells, they respond with quiet precision, marking and neutralizing the invaders before they can cause harm. The lymph nodes, though tiny, are crucial outposts in the body's ongoing effort to maintain purity and order. At the center of immune function lies an extraordinary intelligence, a memory and recognition system that allows the body to distinguish self from non-self. This ability defines the immune system's purpose and power. It is not simply a matter of destruction. It is an act of discernment, an endless process of recognizing what belongs within and what does not. When foreign substances enter the body, the immune system identifies them through unique molecular patterns called antigens. In response, specialized white blood cells produce antibodies, proteins that bind to these antigens and mark them for removal. This process, though invisible, is one of the most sophisticated forms of communication known to biology, a dialogue conducted entirely through chemistry and motion. There are two main divisions of the immune system: innate and adaptive. The innate system is the body's first line of defense, immediate, broad, and nonspecific. It includes barriers such as the skin and mucous membranes, as well as cells that act swiftly against invaders. The adaptive immune system, by contrast, is slower to respond, but far more precise. It learns from each encounter, remembering specific pathogens, so that it can respond more quickly in the future. This memory is what grants long-term immunity, allowing the body to recognize and resist infections it has faced before. In this way, the immune system evolves over a lifetime, adapting to experience just as the mind does. The organs that support the lymphatic and immune systems are as diverse as their functions. The spleen, situated in the upper left of the abdomen, filters blood rather than lymph, removing old red blood cells and recycling their components. It also serves as a reservoir of immune cells, ready to respond to infection. The thymus, located behind the breastbone, is where certain lymphocytes mature and learn to distinguish friend from foe. In childhood, the thymus is large and active. In adulthood, it gradually shrinks, its essential work largely complete. The tonsils and adenoids, found in the throat, act as sentinels, guarding the entrance to the respiratory and digestive tracts. Together, these organs form a network of watchful guardians, silently maintaining the integrity of the inner world. The cooperation between the lymphatic and immune systems extends even to healing. When tissues are injured, the body's immediate response is inflammation, a process often misunderstood as a sign of distress, when in truth, it is an act of restoration. Blood vessels widen, allowing immune cells and nutrients to reach the site of injury. The area becomes warm, red, and swollen as the body works to repair itself. This is the immune system's language of care, not chaos, but renewal. Once the healing is complete, the inflammation subsides, leaving the tissues whole once more. The immune system is also deeply intertwined with the nervous and endocrine systems. Stress, for instance, can influence immunity, altering the production of certain hormones that regulate immune cell activity. Prolonged anxiety or fatigue may weaken the body's defenses, while rest and calm can strengthen them. This relationship between emotion and immunity illustrates how unity pervades the human organism. Every thought, every feeling, every experience has a physical echo. When the mind is peaceful, the body's defenses flow more easily. When tension arises, the immune system must work harder to maintain equilibrium. Thus, even the act of relaxation becomes a form of healing, a gesture of cooperation between body and mind. The lymphatic system also plays a subtle role in maintaining the clarity of the brain. For many years, it was believed that the brain lacked a lymphatic network, existing apart from this system of cleansing. But recent discoveries have revealed small channels along the membranes surrounding the brain that carry away waste and excess fluid. During deep sleep, these pathways become more active, washing the brain in cerebrospinal fluid and clearing away metabolic byproducts. This nightly cleansing underscores the importance of rest, not only for the mind, but for the body's entire network of balance. Throughout its work, the lymphatic and immune systems embody a kind of patience. They do not rush. They observe, respond, and restore. Their rhythm is unhurried. Their success measured not in visible acts, but in the quiet continuation of health. Every day, billions of cells are renewed, and countless microscopic invaders are removed, all without conscious awareness. The body's inner defenses never sleep, never tire, never forget their purpose. They maintain the purity of the blood, the clarity of the tissues, and the calm continuity of life itself. To contemplate these systems is to glimpse a different kind of strength, one that is not forceful but steady, not loud but enduring. The lymphatic vessels, clear and narrow, carry more than fluid. They carry the promise of renewal. The immune cells, drifting through the blood and lymph, act with purpose and discernment, guided by an innate wisdom older than humanity itself. Together, they form a harmony of defense and healing, ensuring that the body remains whole amid the shifting environment of the world. As you rest and breathe, this defense continues quietly within you. Lymph moves through its hidden channels. The immune cells travel on their patient patrols, and the body's inner clarity is preserved. There is comfort in this awareness, the knowledge that within the stillness of the body, an entire world of motion and vigilance endures. The lymphatic and immune systems are silent guardians, protectors of balance, reminders that peace does not mean absence of activity, but the presence of perfect coordination. Within their flowing calm, the body is kept whole, pure, and alive, defended not by force, but by the grace of quiet motion. 10. The muscular system, movement and strength. Beneath the surface of the human form, hidden beneath skin and connective tissue, lies a world of quiet power and constant motion. This is the muscular system, the living fabric that gives shape, movement, and strength to the body. Every action, from the steady beat of the heart to the soft motion of a smile, is made possible through muscle. Even when the body rests, muscles continue their work, maintaining posture, circulating blood, and shaping expression. Though they may seem still from the outside, within them flows a delicate energy, a silent rhythm that never truly stops. The muscular system is both force and grace, strength and subtlety, a living testament to the harmony between power and control. Muscle tissue is unique among the body's many structures. It has the remarkable ability to contract, to shorten, and generate tension, transforming chemical energy into motion. This simple principle forms the foundation of every movement a person makes. There are 3 main types of muscle tissue, each suited to its particular task: skeletal, cardiac, and smooth. Together, they perform a range of functions, so broad and essential that life itself depends on their ceaseless cooperation. Skeletal muscles are those most familiar to the eye and touch. They attach to bones through tendons, forming the body's outer layer of motion. These are the muscles that lift, walk, and breathe, the ones that respond to conscious will. Under the microscope, their fibers appear striped or striated, a sign of their organized structure. Each muscle fiber contains countless microscopic filaments that slide past one another when activated, causing the muscle to shorten. This process, called contraction, is triggered by electrical signals from the nervous system. When a person decides to reach out a hand or take a step, a nerve impulse travels from the brain to the muscle, releasing calcium within the muscle cells and setting off a cascade of molecular motion. The result is graceful and fluid, yet beneath that grace lies extraordinary coordination at the cellular level. Though skeletal muscles act under voluntary control, they also perform countless involuntary tasks. They maintain posture without thought, stabilize joints, and produce heat to keep the body's temperature steady. Even as you sit quietly, muscles in the back and neck remain subtly engaged, preventing the body from collapsing under gravity's pull. This quiet effort is often unnoticed, but it is essential to balance and structure. The endurance of these muscles allows the body to remain upright, expressive, and capable of movement in any direction. Cardiac muscle, by contrast, is found only in the heart. It is the muscle of life's rhythm, contracting continuously from birth until the final breath. Like skeletal muscle, it appears striated, but its function is entirely involuntary. The heart's contractions are self-generated, guided by an internal electrical system that keeps time with perfect precision. Each beat pumps blood through the body's vast network of vessels, ensuring that oxygen and nutrients reach every. Cardiac muscle cells are interconnected by structures called intercalated discs, which allow electrical impulses to pass swiftly from one cell to another. This connection ensures that the heart contracts as a single, unified organ, rather than as isolated fibers. Its rhythm, though automatic, can be influenced by emotion, activity, and rest, quickening with excitement, slowing with calm. Through all these variations, it remains faithful, a steady pulse that embodies the constancy of life itself. Smooth muscle, the third type, operates in the quiet background of existence. It lines the walls of internal organs, the stomach, intestines, bladder, and blood vessels, performing its duties beyond conscious control. Its movements are slower and more sustained than those of skeletal muscle, producing gentle waves that propel food through the digestive tract, regulate the flow of blood, and adjust the size of airways and pupils. Though it lacks the striations seen in other muscle types, smooth muscle possesses endurance unmatched by any other tissue. It can contract for long periods without fatigue, maintaining the subtle motions that keep the body functioning smoothly. It is the muscle of patience, embodying the quiet strength that sustains life in stillness. All muscle activity depends on energy, and that energy is drawn from the body's metabolism. When muscles contract, they rely on adenosine triphosphate, or ATP, the chemical fuel produced within cells. To create ATP, muscles use oxygen delivered by the blood and nutrients, such as glucose and fatty acids. During intense activity, when oxygen becomes scarce, muscles switch to anaerobic metabolism, producing energy through alternate pathways. This process, while effective, generates lactic acid, which can cause temporary fatigue or soreness. The body quickly clears this byproduct once activity slows, restoring the natural balance of energy and rest. The structure of skeletal muscle reveals a remarkable design of order and cooperation. Each muscle is composed of bundles of fibers, each fiber containing myofibrils made up of repeating units called sarcomeres. Within these sarcomeres lie the proteins actin and myosin, the true engines of contraction. When stimulated, these proteins slide across one another, shortening the sarcomere and creating motion. Millions of these microscopic contractions occur in unison, producing the macroscopic movement of an arm lifting, a chest rising, or a head turning. This coordination between the molecular and the visible reflects the profound unity of nature's patterns, complexity arising from simplicity, power born of precision. The muscular system does not act alone. It is inseparably linked to the skeletal system, forming the musculoskeletal framework that defines the body's form and function. Bones provide the structure and leverage, while muscles generate the force. Ligaments and tendons connect them, transferring tension into motion. When one muscle contracts, its opposing partner relaxes, creating balance and fluidity. This reciprocal relationship, contraction and release, effort and ease, is the essence of movement. Even the simplest gesture, such as lifting a hand, requires the coordinated action of dozens of muscles working together in harmony. Beyond movement, muscles play a vital role in the maintenance of heat and energy. As they contract, they generate warmth, which helps regulate the body's temperature. This is why shivering occurs in the cold, an involuntary effort to produce heat through rapid muscle activity. Muscles also serve as reservoirs of protein and glycogen, storing the materials the body may need during times of fasting or illness. In this way, they act not only as engines of motion, but as guardians of energy and stability. Muscles, though often associated with strength, are also instruments of expression. The fine muscles of the face allow for the vast range of human emotion, the soft curve of a smile, the furrow of concentration, the gentle relaxation of sleep. These small movements communicate feelings more powerfully than words. Even the voice depends on muscle control, as the diaphragm and laryngeal muscles shape breath and sound. In every conversation, every gesture, the muscular system gives form to thought and emotion, allowing the inner world to meet the outer one. With use, muscles grow stronger. With rest, they repair and restore. This cycle of activity and recovery is fundamental to their health. Tiny fibers within the muscles may sustain microscopic tears during exertion, but through rest and nourishment, they rebuild themselves, becoming thicker and more resilient. This continual adaptation mirrors the resilience of life itself. Growth through challenge, strength through renewal. Even in stillness, when the body lies at rest, muscles continue their subtle labor, maintaining posture, supporting organs, and ensuring the steady circulation of blood. The muscular system, like all others, reflects a deeper truth about balance. Power without control would be chaos. Control without motion would be stagnation. Muscles embody the harmony of both, capable of immense force, yet capable also of gentleness. They respond to the body's needs with grace, tightening when called upon, relaxing when peace returns. In every heartbeat, every breath, every motion of life, they perform their work with devotion and precision. To contemplate the muscular system is to witness the poetry of strength, not the loud strength of conflict or resistance, but the quiet strength of endurance and cooperation. Muscles do not act alone. They act in concert, a chorus of fibers guided by the silent direction of the nervous system and fueled by the patient work of the heart and lungs. Together, they move the body through the world, shaping every gesture and sustaining every step. As you rest, this network of living fibers continues its gentle work. The muscles of the chest rise and fall with each breath. The heart, itself a muscle, beats steadily beneath the ribs. Even in stillness, subtle contractions maintain posture and keep the blood flowing smoothly. The muscular system, in its strength and serenity, is a reminder of the balance that underlies all life, the harmony of motion and rest, energy and stillness, effort and ease. Within its quiet power lies the foundation of all human movement, and within its rhythm, the calm endurance of life itself. 11. The skeletal system, structure and support. Beneath every motion, beneath every expression and breath, there lies a framework of remarkable elegance, the skeletal system. It is both the body's foundation and its silent protector, a structure of strength hidden beneath softness. Though we often think of bones as rigid and lifeless, they are anything but. They are living tissues, constantly changing, constantly renewing themselves. They carry the weight of the body with quiet endurance, shielding vital organs supporting movement and serving as reservoirs of minerals essential for life. Within them, the story of our physical existence is written, the story of growth, of adaptation, and of resilience. The human skeleton is composed of 206 bones, each shaped precisely for its purpose. Some are long and sturdy, designed for leverage and movement, while others are flat and broad, offering protection or serving as anchors for muscles. Together, they form a framework that gives the body its form and proportion. Without the skeleton, the body would collapse into shapelessness, unable to move or stand. It is the quiet architecture of life, holding everything in place while allowing fluid motion. Bones are not uniform. They vary in size, density, and function. The skull, with its interlocking plates, protects the brain, the fragile center of thought and perception. The rib cage, shaped like a basket, shelters the heart and lungs while expanding gently with each breath. The spine, composed of 33 vertebrae, supports the body's weight and provides flexibility, allowing the body to bend, twist, and remain upright. The limbs, made of long bones such as the femur and humerus, act as levers, amplifying muscular force to create movement. Each joint, each curve, each connection is perfectly tuned to balance strength and mobility. To understand bone is to see that it is a living material. Far from the static image we often imagine, within its dense outer layer lies a lighter, porous interior known as spongy bone, filled with tiny spaces that give it both strength and flexibility. Inside many bones, particularly the long ones, lies the bone marrow, a soft, vital tissue where new blood cells are born. Every day, millions of red and white blood cells are produced here, replenishing the body's supply and sustaining life. Thus, even the hardest parts of us are deeply connected to the soft and living. Within the seeming stillness of bone, there is constant motion. Bones are composed primarily of collagen, a fibrous protein that gives them resilience, and calcium phosphate, a mineral that provides hardness. This combination allows them to withstand pressure and impact while remaining slightly flexible. If bone were only mineral, it would be brittle and fragile. If it were only protein, it would bend and yield. Together, they create a perfect balance of strength and elasticity. Throughout life, bone tissue is constantly being broken down and rebuilt, a process known as remodeling. Specialized cells called osteoclasts dissolve old or damaged bone, while others, called osteoblasts, lay down new layers of mineral. This continuous renewal allows the skeleton to adapt to the stresses of daily life, repairing microscopic fractures and adjusting to changes in posture, weight, and motion. The joints of the skeleton are where motion is born. They are the meeting places between bones, designed with a variety of structures to suit their purposes. Some, like those in the skull, are immovable, fused together to provide protection and stability. Others, such as the joints of the knees, hips, and shoulders, are marvels of mobility, allowing bending, rotation, and extension. These joints are cushioned by cartilage, a smooth, resilient tissue that prevents friction, and lubricated by synovial fluid, which allows bones to glide effortlessly over one another. Ligaments, bands of tough connective tissue, hold the joints together, guiding movement and maintaining alignment. The result is a system capable of both strength and grace, of standing still and dancing in motion. The skeletal system also serves as a storehouse for minerals, especially calcium and phosphorus, which are essential for nerve function, muscle contraction, and many other biological processes. When the body's levels of these minerals drop, the bones release small amounts into the bloodstream. When levels rise, they absorb them again. This delicate exchange is one of the body's many balancing acts, a quiet interplay between structure and chemistry that ensures stability. The hormones of the endocrine system, particularly parathyroid hormone and calcitonin, regulate this process, linking the skeleton to the body's broader network of communication and control. As we grow, our bones tell the story of transformation. In infancy, much of the skeleton is made of cartilage, flexible and soft, allowing for birth and early development. Over time, this cartilage is gradually replaced by bone through a process called ossification. During adolescence, growth plates at the ends of long bones allow them to lengthen, contributing to height and proportion. When growth is complete, these plates close, and the bones assume their adult form. Yet even after growth ends, bones remain dynamic, responding to use, pressure, and need. Astronauts, for example, who live for months in weightless environments, often lose bone density due to the absence of gravity's pull. Conversely, those who engage in regular weight-bearing activity strengthen their bones, as the stress of motion stimulates renewal. In this way, the skeleton adapts to life's demands, reshaping itself in response to experience. The spine, that central pillar of the skeleton, deserves special attention. It is not a single bone but a chain of vertebrae separated by discs of cartilage that act as cushions and shock absorbers. The spine protects the spinal cord, the delicate bundle of nerves that carries messages between the brain and the body. Its natural curves, cervical, thoracic, lumbar, and sacral, provide balance and flexibility, distributing the weight of the head and torso evenly. When aligned, the spine allows effortless movement and upright posture, supporting both motion and stillness. It is a structure of quiet strength, both protective and liberating, embodying the perfect balance of stability and grace. Bones also serve as the silent companions of time. They record the story of a life, growth, injury, adaptation, and long after flesh has faded, they endure. Yet even this endurance is dynamic. Living bone is never truly old, for it renews itself continually. Each year, up to 10% of the human skeleton is replaced, ensuring that even in adulthood, the body remains new. This ceaseless renewal mirrors the rhythm of all living systems, the balance between preservation and change. Though the skeletal system is often associated with rigidity, it is as responsive and sensitive as any organ. Nerves and blood vessels run through every bone, carrying nourishment and sensation. The body feels its own structure through these pathways, adjusting posture and movement based on feedback from the joints and muscles. This sensory communication allows for balance and coordination, ensuring that motion remains fluid and controlled. Without it, the grace of movement would be lost, replaced by stiffness and uncertainty. Beyond its physical roles, the skeleton has always held a deeper symbolic power. Across cultures and centuries, bones have represented endurance, the essence that remains when all else fades. They are reminders of life's impermanence and its continuity, the structure that persists, generation after generation, renewing itself within each living being. Yet, when viewed through the lens of biology, this symbolism takes on new meaning. Bones do not signify finality, but transformation. They are not static remains, but living, evolving tissue, engaged in constant dialogue with the rest of the body. To contemplate the skeletal system is to recognize the beauty of support, not only physical, but metaphorical. It represents the foundation upon which all movement depends, the quiet strength that underlies vitality. Without it, the muscles would have no anchor, the organs no protection, and the body no form. And yet, for all its power, the skeleton works in silence, its presence felt but rarely acknowledged. Even now, as you sit or rest, your skeleton holds you upright, bearing your weight with effortless endurance. Its joints adjust, its muscles align, its curves balance the pull of gravity. Within each bone, unseen, Cells continue their endless renewal, maintaining the structure that allows you to move through the world. The skeletal system is a marvel of both engineering and art, a structure built for motion, yet capable of stillness, as enduring as stone, yet as alive as breath. In its unspoken strength lies a quiet lesson that true support is rarely seen, that stability need not shout, and that endurance is not the absence of change, but the ability to remain whole through it. The skeletal system, steadfast and serene, carries the weight of life with grace, reminding us that even in stillness, there is vitality, and even in the hardest parts of ourselves, there is life continuing in silence. 12. The integumentary system, the skin and its subtle protection. Surrounding the body like a soft, living shield is the integumentary system. The skin, along with the hair, nails, and the glands that accompany them. It is the body's largest and most visible organ, a boundary and a bridge between the inner world of blood and bone and the outer world of air, light, and touch. It protects, regulates, senses, and communicates. Though we often take it for granted, the skin is a masterpiece of biological design, strong yet supple, self-repairing, constantly renewing, and quietly aware of everything that touches it. Through its subtle surface, the body both meets and understands the environment around it. The skin is composed of 3 main layers, each with its own purpose and rhythm. The outermost layer, the epidermis, is a thin but durable barrier made primarily of keratinized cells. These cells begin deep below the surface, where they are born soft and full of moisture. As they rise toward the surface, they gradually flatten, harden, and die, forming a protective layer that shields the body from harm. Every few weeks, this layer is shed and replaced, a continuous cycle of renewal that ensures resilience. Beneath it lies the dermis, a thicker layer of connective tissue filled with blood vessels, nerves, and glands. Here, collagen and elastin fibers weave together like a living fabric, giving the skin both strength and flexibility. Still deeper is the subcutaneous layer, where fat cushions the body, insulates it from temperature extremes, and connects the skin to the muscles and bones below. These 3 layers, though distinct, act as one, protecting, sensing, and sustaining the living form within. The skin's most immediate and vital role is protection. It serves as the body's first line of defense against the external world, a barrier against microbes, toxins, and physical injury. Its surface is slightly acidic, forming what is known as the acid mantle, a natural defense that discourages harmful bacteria while supporting beneficial ones. This balance of microorganisms, known as the skin microbiome, contributes quietly to health, forming a living ecosystem on the body's surface. It is a reminder that even in defense, the body cooperates with nature, maintaining harmony rather than exclusion. Within the dermis, countless blood vessels and nerve endings work together to regulate temperature and sensation. When the body becomes too warm, the blood vessels near the surface widen, allowing more heat to escape through the skin. Sweat glands release moisture, which cools the body as it evaporates. In the cold, these processes reverse. Blood vessels constrict to conserve warmth, and tiny muscles at the base of each hair contract, causing the familiar sensation of goosebumps. This simple reflex, an ancient remnant from a time when body hair provided insulation, reflects the skin's constant vigilance in maintaining the body's internal balance. The sense of touch, one of humanity's most profound forms of perception, is made possible by the skin's intricate network of sensory receptors. Within the dermis, specialized nerve endings detect pressure, texture, temperature, and pain. Some respond to the lightest brush of air or fabric, others to deep, sustained contact. The fingertips, lips, and face contain the greatest concentration of these receptors, allowing for extraordinary sensitivity. Through touch, the body gathers information about its surroundings, but it also communicates warmth, reassurance, connection. A gentle hand on the shoulder, a soft embrace. These gestures speak directly through the skin, bypassing language and reaching into the quiet space of emotion. The skin's ability to heal is another of its remarkable qualities. When it is wounded, the body responds with precision. Blood rushes to the area, clotting to seal the opening and prevent loss or infection. Cells in the dermis and epidermis then multiply and migrate, rebuilding the damaged tissue layer by layer. In time, new collagen restores the structure, and though a scar may remain, it too becomes part of the skin's living history, a record of resilience, of injury endured and overcome. Every mark, every freckle, every faint line tells part of the body's story, written in the language of the skin. Embedded within this living surface are the glands that support its function. The sebaceous glands, located near hair follicles, produce sebum, an oily substance that keeps the skin supple and prevents dryness. Sweat glands, found throughout the body, play a vital role in cooling and detoxification. Their secretions, mostly water with traces of salt and waste, are carried to the surface, where they evaporate, releasing heat. Together, these glands maintain moisture, temperature, and cleanliness, ensuring that the skin remains balanced no matter the environment. Hair and nails, though seemingly separate, are extensions of the same system. Each hair begins in a follicle deep within the dermis, where cells produce keratin, the same tough protein found in the outer skin and nails. As the cells are pushed upward, they die and harden, forming the visible strand. Hair provides warmth and protection, but it also serves as a subtle sensory tool. Even the faintest movement of air can bend a hair, stimulating the nerve endings at its base. In this way, the skin extends its awareness beyond its surface, sensing motion and temperature before they are consciously felt. Nails, composed of tightly packed keratin, protect the fingertips and toes, enhancing dexterity and sensitivity. They are small but precise instruments, formed by the same processes that give strength and structure to the entire integumentary system. The skin is also a site of synthesis. When exposed to sunlight, it initiates the production of vitamin D, an essential nutrient for bone health and immune function. This process demonstrates the skin's role not just as a barrier, but as an active participant in the body's metabolism. Light itself becomes nourishment, transformed within the layers of the skin into chemical energy that supports growth and vitality. Yet this same light, when excessive, can cause harm. And so the skin protects itself by producing melanin, the pigment that gives it color. Melanin absorbs and disperses ultraviolet radiation, preventing cellular damage. Its distribution and variation among humans reflect generations of adaptation to different environments, a natural harmony between the body and the light that sustains it. The relationship between the skin and emotion is profound. It blushes with warmth when embarrassed, pales in fear, and flushes in excitement or exertion. It tingles with anticipation, tightens in anxiety, and softens in relaxation. These subtle changes are expressions of the connection between the mind and body, carried out through the same vessels and nerves that sustain physical life. The skin, therefore, is not merely an organ of protection, but also of expression, a mirror of inner experience. It shows what the heart feels and what the mind perceives, revealing through color and sensation the invisible movements of thought and emotion. As time passes, the skin tells the story of age with gentle honesty. It becomes thinner, less elastic, and marked by fine lines, not signs of decline, but records of a life lived in light, wind, and touch. The process of renewal continues, though more slowly, and the surface becomes a map of experience. In this way, the skin connects all stages of life, from the soft smoothness of infancy to the graceful textures of age, always present, always adapting, always alive. The integumentary system also represents one of the body's most poetic truths, that boundaries are not merely divisions, but connections. The skin defines where the body ends and the world begins, yet it is also the point where the two meet and interact. Every sensation, every breath of wind, every touch, every warmth of sunlight passes through this living threshold. It protects the inner world, but it also invites in the outer one, translating texture and temperature into awareness. It is the meeting place of self and environment, the living interface through which life perceives life. To contemplate the skin is to appreciate the beauty of subtle protection, a balance of strength and sensitivity, of endurance and renewal. It is the body's guardian and storyteller, its communicator and shield. Beneath its surface, blood flows and nerves whisper, and above it, the air moves gently, brushing against a living surface that feels and responds. Even now, as you rest, the skin continues its quiet work, sensing, adjusting, renewing, protecting. It is both armor and instrument, the body's first language and final boundary, the soft veil through which the inner world meets the infinite expanse beyond. In its silence, the skin teaches the most delicate lesson of all, that strength need not be hard, that protection can coexist with openness, and that the most constant presence in life is also the most easily overlooked. The integumentary system, humble and tireless, embraces the body in a continual act of care, holding it together, keeping it whole, and reminding us that every touch, every breath of air, and every moment of stillness is part of the gentle conversation between the body and the world it inhabits. 13. The reproductive system, renewal and continuity. Among all the systems that make up the human body, the reproductive system stands apart in its purpose. It is the system of renewal, the keeper of continuity, the gentle bridge between generations. Through it, life extends beyond the individual, carrying forward the unbroken thread of existence. It is both a biological mechanism and a profound expression of nature's continuity, a reminder that the body is not an isolated being, but part of a larger cycle that began long before birth and will continue long after. The reproductive system is life's quiet promise, written into the structure of every human being. In essence, reproduction allows life to perpetuate itself. The human reproductive system, though differing in structure between male and female bodies, shares the same purpose: the creation, protection, and nurturing of new life. Every function, every hormone, and every organ within this system is dedicated to this intricate task. It is a process guided by both precision and tenderness, unfolding with the same balance and care that defines all living systems. In the male body, the reproductive organs are primarily designed for the production and delivery of sperm, the microscopic cells that carry the genetic message of life. This process begins in the testes, two oval-shaped organs held within the scrotum. Within each testis lie countless coiled tubules called seminiferous tubules, where sperm are produced in a continuous, rhythmic process known as spermatogenesis. Each sperm cell begins as a simple germ cell, dividing and maturing through a series of stages until it develops a head, a midsection, and a tail perfectly shaped for motion and survival. The head carries genetic material, the tail propels it forward, and the surrounding fluids protect it as it journeys toward its destination. The testes also produce testosterone, the primary male hormone, which guides the development of secondary characteristics such as muscle growth, deeper voice, and facial hair. But its influence extends beyond appearance. Testosterone supports bone strength, metabolism, and even emotional balance. After formation, mature sperm move to the epididymis, a long, coiled structure on the back of each testis, where they are stored and gain motility. When the moment of release arrives, the sperm travel through the vas deferens, merging with fluids from accessory glands, the seminal vesicles, prostate gland, and bulbourethral glands, which provide nourishment, protection, and alkalinity to the semen. This carefully balanced fluid ensures that the sperm can survive the challenging journey through the reproductive tract, carrying within it the potential for life's continuation. In the female body, the reproductive system is a sanctuary of creation and nurturing. Its purpose is not only to produce and receive, but to protect and sustain. The ovaries, two almond-shaped organs located on either side of the uterus, are the sources of both the egg cells, or ova, and the hormones, estrogen and progesterone. Each ovary contains thousands of immature eggs, present from birth, resting quietly until the time of ovulation. With each cycle, usually once a month, a single egg matures within a small fluid-filled structure called a follicle. When it is ready, the follicle ruptures, releasing the egg into the fallopian tube, where it may meet the sperm that carries its complement of genetic material. If fertilization occurs, a new cell, the zygote, forms, combining genetic information from both parents into a unique and unrepeatable code. This single cell, no larger than a grain of dust, contains everything needed to create a new human being. It divides, multiplies, and begins its slow journey through the fallopian tube toward the uterus, the organ of shelter and growth. The uterus, with its thick muscular walls and nutrient-rich lining, is the cradle of development. When the fertilized egg implants itself into this lining, the body begins a transformation unlike any other, a period of growth and nurturing that will continue for many months until a new life emerges into the world. The hormones that guide this process are gentle conductors of balance. Estrogen fosters the development of the reproductive organs and maintains the tissues of the uterus. Progesterone prepares the uterine lining to receive and sustain the fertilized egg. Together, they orchestrate the menstrual cycle, a rhythm of renewal that mirrors the cycles of the moon and the tides. When fertilization does not occur, the lining of the uterus is shed, and the cycle begins again, a continuous pattern of preparation and release, of creation and rest. The connection between the reproductive system and the endocrine system is profound. The hypothalamus and pituitary gland, deep within the brain, regulate the release of hormones that govern reproductive function. This connection ensures that the processes of growth, fertility, and renewal remain in harmony with the body's overall condition. It is a dialogue between mind and body, between biology and rhythm, an ancient and delicate conversation that has sustained life since its beginnings. Pregnancy, when it occurs, represents the most remarkable collaboration between systems. The cardiovascular, respiratory, and digestive systems all adapt to sustain not just one life, but two. The placenta, a temporary organ formed from both maternal and embryonic tissues, becomes the interface of exchange, delivering oxygen and nutrients while removing waste. Hormones shift to support growth and protect the developing child, and the body's structure changes to accommodate this quiet miracle. Every heartbeat of the mother sends nourishment through the umbilical cord to the developing child, and within that exchange lies the purest form of continuity, one life sustaining another. When the time of birth arrives, another series of orchestrated movements unfolds. The muscles of the uterus, guided by signals from both the brain and the child, begin to contract rhythmically, gradually opening the path into the world. Pain and power coexist in this process, yet it is guided by the same natural intelligence that governs every act of the body. With each contraction, life moves closer to emergence, and when the first breath is drawn, the rhythm of two bodies separates into one, a continuation of the cycle that has existed for countless generations. Beyond its physical purpose, The reproductive system also carries deep emotional and spiritual dimensions. It connects human beings not only through lineage, but through intimacy, affection, and partnership. The bonds formed through reproduction are more than biological. They are expressions of connection, care, and continuity. The hormones that govern reproduction also influence mood, emotion, and attachment, weaving together the physical and emotional aspects of life. Through these processes, the body affirms its link to the larger patterns of nature, to cycles of growth, rest, and renewal. The reproductive system's significance extends beyond the creation of new life. It is a reminder of the body's capacity for regeneration. Even in the absence of reproduction, the system continues its rhythmic cycles, maintaining hormonal balance and contributing to overall well-being. These cycles influence not only physical states but also mental and emotional rhythms, connecting the individual to the subtle flow of time within the body. As the years pass, the reproductive system evolves, reflecting the body's changing stages. In women, menopause marks the natural conclusion of fertility, a gradual shift in which ovulation ceases and hormone levels decline. This transition, though often associated with change and adjustment, is not an ending but a transformation, a passage into a new phase of equilibrium. In men, reproductive capacity continues throughout life, though hormone levels may decrease with age, bringing quieter shifts in energy and function. These changes, gentle and universal, mirror the broader cycles of life emergence, flourishing, and repose. The reproductive system, in all its complexity, embodies the essence of continuity. It is the keeper of beginnings, the architect of connection, and the vessel through which life renews itself. Each cell, each hormone, each organ contributes to this grand design with quiet precision. In its rhythms we find the same balance that governs all nature, the pulse of creation, the harmony of opposites, the dance of growth and renewal. As you rest and breathe, the rhythms of your own body continue in their silent cooperation. Within you lies the memory of countless generations, the unbroken thread of life passed from one body to another. The reproductive system, in its quiet wisdom, carries that memory forward, ensuring that the story of life, of humanity, of all living things, never truly ends. It is the body's most tender gift, the expression of its eternal promise, that from stillness, life will always rise again. 14. The sensory systems. Perceiving the world. The human body is not only built to live within the world, but to experience it, to see, to hear, to taste, to touch, and to smell. Through these senses, the boundaries between self and environment blur, allowing the outside world to flow inward as sensation, perception, and understanding. The sensory systems are the instruments through which life becomes vivid, translating the silent patterns of energy, vibration, and matter into sound, color, flavor, and warmth. They are the body's windows, each one finely tuned to capture a particular aspect of reality, yet all working together to create a single, seamless awareness of existence. Each sense begins as a simple act of reception. The eyes receive light, the ears receive sound waves, the tongue and nose detect chemicals, and the skin perceives pressure and temperature. Yet what begins as a physical event becomes something far deeper as it travels inward. Electrical impulses carry the information to the brain, where neurons interpret, organize, and weave it into meaning. In this way, perception is not merely about what the senses gather, but how the mind translates that gathering into experience. The sensory systems therefore do more than connect us to the external world. They define our place within it, forming the basis of memory, emotion, and thought. Sense of sight, the most complex and perhaps the most dominant of the senses, begins with light. Light enters the eye through the cornea, a clear, curved surface that bends the rays inward toward the lens. The lens, flexible and transparent, fine-tunes the focus, allowing near or distant objects to appear sharp. These rays then converge upon the retina, a delicate layer of light-sensitive cells lining the back of the eye. There, photoreceptors known as rods and cones transform light into electrical signals. Rods are sensitive to dim light, granting us vision in darkness, while cones detect color and detail, thriving in daylight. Together, create the images we perceive, though what we truly see is not light itself. Within fractions of a second, these electrical impulses travel along the optic nerve to the brain's visual cortex, where they are processed, assembled, and understood. The result is the world as we see it, a vibrant panorama of color, depth, and form. Yet sight is not passive. It is an act of construction. The brain fills in gaps, adjusts contrast, and interprets context, allowing us to recognize faces, read expressions, and move safely through space. The eyes may take in light, but the mind creates vision, the union of perception and understanding. Hearing, the sense of sound. Air moves in waves, pressing rhythmically against the eardrum, a thin membrane stretched across the ear canal. These vibrations pass into the middle ear, where three tiny bones, the malleus, incus, and stapes, amplify and transmit them to the inner ear. Within the coiled structure of the cochlea, fluid ripples in response, bending thousands of microscopic hair cells that line its surface. Each of these cells is tuned to a specific frequency, responding to vibrations that range from the deep rumble of thunder to the soft whisper of a breeze. As they bend, they generate electrical signals that travel along the auditory nerve to the brain, where they are perceived as sound. Hearing, like sight, is both physical and emotional. The same vibrations that form speech and music can evoke memory, comfort, or awe. The tone of a voice can convey tenderness or sorrow, even when words are not understood. In the stillness of night, the soft hum of the world, the rustle of leaves, the distant murmur of water, the quiet pulse of breath, becomes a kind of music, connecting the listener to the rhythm of life itself. Through hearing, the body not only perceives the outer world, but also feels its harmony, its pulse, and its presence. The senses of taste and smell, though often overlooked, are among the most ancient, tied to the body's earliest instincts of survival and pleasure. Taste begins on the tongue, where tiny clusters of sensory cells called taste buds detect chemicals dissolved in saliva. These cells respond to 5 primary sensations: sweet, sour, salty, bitter, and umami, each representing a different kind of nutrient or warning. Sweetness signals energy-rich sugars. Salt reflects minerals. Sour and bitter often indicate potential danger or spoilage. Umami, the taste of proteins, suggests nourishment. Yet flavor is not only taste. It is the merging of taste and smell. The sense of smell, or olfaction, is uniquely direct. When air enters the nose, molecules bind to receptors in the olfactory epithelium, a small patch of tissue high within the nasal cavity. These receptors send signals through the olfactory bulb to the brain's limbic system, the seat of emotion and memory. Because of this direct connection, scent has a power unlike any other sense. It can summon vivid memories or emotions long forgotten. The smell of rain on dry earth, of wood smoke, of a familiar perfume, each carries with it an echo of a moment, preserved in the mind's quiet archive. Through scent, the invisible becomes tangible, and time itself seems to soften, linking present to past in a single breath. The sense of touch, spread across the entire surface of the body, is the most intimate of all. The skin is alive with receptors that detect pressure, vibration, temperature, and pain. Some lie close to the surface, responding to light contact. Others are deeper, sensing weight or movement. Through touch, we discover texture, form, and temperature. The smoothness of stone, the warmth of sunlight, the softness of fabric. But touch is more than sensation. It is connection. From the moment of birth, it conveys safety and belonging. The gentle pressure of a hand, the softness of an embrace, the warmth of another body. These are forms of communication, older than speech. Touch reassures, comforts, and heals, reminding the body that it is not alone. All five senses work together as one seamless system of perception. When you walk through a forest, you do not experience sight, sound, and scent separately. You feel them as a single, unified impression. The rustle of leaves blends with the smell of earth and the pattern of sunlight filtering through branches. This integration occurs within the brain, where sensory information converges, creating a whole greater than its parts. The senses are not isolated channels, but threads in a single tapestry of experience, woven together to form awareness. The sensory systems also guide the body's responses, protecting it from harm and enabling interaction with the environment. The reflexive pull of the hand from heat, the squint in bright light, the shiver in cold, all are the body's automatic ways of maintaining balance. These reflexes are immediate, bypassing conscious thought to preserve safety. At the same time, the senses enrich life with beauty, curiosity, and wonder. They transform mere survival into experience, turning existence into awareness. Each sense has its own rhythm and rest. The eyes close to block out light and restore moisture. The ears adapt to silence, the nose to scent. During sleep, most senses withdraw, their activity quieted, yet they never fully stop. Even in deep rest, the body remains aware. The ear still catches distant sound. The skin still feels warmth or coolness. The heart still beats in response to unseen signals. The senses continue their gentle vigilance, keeping the body connected to the world even in stillness. To contemplate the sensory systems is to recognize the delicate art of perception. They are not just instruments of survival, but expressions of life's curiosity, the body's desire to reach outward and know. Through them, the unseen becomes seen, the silent becomes sound, and the world takes shape in the mind's quiet theater. Every moment of awareness, every color and echo and touch arises from their cooperation. And yet, even when the senses rest, when the eyes close, when sound fades, when stillness surrounds, perception continues in another form. The mind, shaped by what the senses have gathered, continues to dream, to imagine, to create. Thus, the sensory systems not only connect us to the outer world, but also give rise to the inner one. As you rest now, your senses soften. The eyes grow heavy, the ears quiet, the skin relaxes against the air. But beneath that calm, the sensory systems continue their patient work, maintaining the link between body and world. They remind us that to be alive is to perceive, and to perceive is to participate in the endless conversation between self and universe. Through sight and sound, through touch and taste and scent, the world enters gently, and life responds a dialogue as old as existence itself, continuing in silence, in stillness, and in the peace of awareness. 15. The nervous system, pathways of thought and motion. Within the quiet corridors of the human body, there exists a system of breathtaking complexity, a vast network of connections through which every sensation, thought, and motion travels. This is the nervous system, the body's communication network, the living circuitry that allows us to perceive, respond, and understand. It is the medium through which the mind expresses itself, linking the physical and the intangible, the mechanical and the emotional. Through it, Impulses race with astonishing speed, carrying messages that keep the body alive and the consciousness aware. It is the system of thought and motion, of awareness and memory, and it defines much of what it means to be human. The nervous system is both simple in its principle and infinite in its detail. It operates on one basic idea, the transmission of electrical signals. Yet from that single function arises the entire symphony of life. Movement, sensation, emotion, and thought. It is divided into two main parts: the central nervous system, consisting of the brain and spinal cord, and the peripheral nervous system, which extends outward through countless nerves to every corner of the body. Together, they form a seamless whole, a network that connects every cell to the pulse of consciousness. At the heart of this system lies the neuron, a specialized cell that carries information through electrical impulses. Each neuron has three main parts: the cell body, where the nucleus resides, the dendrites, which receive signals from other cells, and the axon, a long fiber that transmits signals onward. When a neuron is activated, it generates an electrical charge that travels along its axon, sometimes at speeds exceeding 100 meters per second. When the signal reaches the end, it triggers the release of chemical messengers called neurotransmitters, which cross tiny gaps, known as synapses, to stimulate neighboring neurons. Through billions of these interactions, the nervous system conducts its invisible communication, a constant dialogue of electricity and chemistry that gives rise to thought, feeling, and action. The brain, resting quietly within the protective vault of the skull, is the central hub of this network. It is a structure of soft tissue yet infinite capacity, composed of approximately 86 billion neurons and a far greater number of supporting cells. Each neuron may connect to thousands of others, forming intricate pathways that underlie every function from heartbeat to imagination. The brain can be divided into regions that specialize in different tasks, though none work in isolation. The cerebrum, the largest portion, governs conscious thought, language, memory, and voluntary motion. The cerebellum, tucked beneath it, coordinates balance and precision, ensuring that movement flows smoothly. Deep within, the brainstem controls the most essential functions: breathing, heartbeat, and arousal, maintaining life even when consciousness drifts away. The spinal cord, extending downward from the brain through the protective tunnel of the vertebrae, serves as the main highway of communication between the brain and the rest of the body. It carries sensory information upward, the feeling of touch, temperature, and pain, and motor commands downward, directing muscles to contract or relax. It also governs reflexes, the body's automatic responses to sudden stimuli. When you touch something hot, your hand withdraws before your mind has time to think. The spinal cord acts first, preserving safety through instinct. This cooperation between conscious control and reflexive action reflects the nervous system's profound intelligence, a system designed not only for awareness but for protection. Branching outward from the spinal cord and brain are the peripheral nerves, which reach into the body like delicate threads. Some carry sensory information inward, while others deliver motor commands outward. These nerves form two functional divisions: the somatic system, which governs voluntary motion, and the autonomic system, which controls involuntary functions such as heart rate, digestion, and respiration. The autonomic system itself is divided into two opposing yet complementary branches: the sympathetic and the parasympathetic. The sympathetic system prepares the body for action, quickening the pulse and sharpening alertness, while the parasympathetic system restores calm, slowing the heartbeat and promoting rest. Together, they maintain balance, ensuring that the body can adapt to both activity and stillness, tension and peace. The brain's electrical activity is astonishingly complex, yet it is also rhythmic. Waves of electrical patterns flow through it, changing with mood and state. During wakefulness, faster beta waves dominate, allowing for focus and alertness. In calm reflection, alpha waves emerge, slower and smoother. During deep sleep, the waves grow larger and more synchronized, allowing the brain to rest and renew. These rhythms are not only patterns of energy, but expressions of state, the visible echo of thought, emotion, and awareness. Memory, one of the nervous system's most mysterious functions, arises from changes in the strength of connections between neurons. Each experience, each perception, subtly alters the brain's structure, reinforcing certain pathways and diminishing others. Over time, patterns of connection become the record of the mind's journey, a living archive stored not in one place, but across countless circuits. Some memories are fleeting, like ripples on water, while others endure for decades, shaping identity and understanding. Even when forgotten, their traces remain, influencing behavior and emotion in ways unseen. Thus, memory is both presence and echo, both immediate and eternal. Emotion, too, is born from the nervous system's intricate interplay of signals. The limbic system, a collection of structures deep within the brain, acts as the center of feeling and motivation. It processes sensory input not only in terms of what is seen or heard, but how it is experienced as joy, fear, curiosity, or calm. The amygdala detects threat, the hippocampus shapes memory, and the hypothalamus links emotion to bodily response. When the heart races in fear or warmth spreads in affection, it is the nervous system translating feeling into motion, reminding us that emotion is not just thought but sensation. The nervous system also governs awareness of the self, that quiet recognition of existence that allows one to say, "I am." Within the cerebral cortex, particularly in the frontal and parietal regions, networks integrate sensory input, memory, and intention, producing the continuous sense of being. This awareness is fluid, ever-changing, yet coherent, a stream of consciousness flowing through time. It binds perception, memory, and imagination into a single narrative, turning moments into experience and experience into understanding. The nervous system's strength lies in its adaptability. It is capable of learning, healing, and reshaping itself, a phenomenon known as neuroplasticity. When a pathway is damaged, new ones can form. When a skill is practiced, connections grow stronger. Even in old age, the brain retains the capacity to adapt, proving that learning and change are lifelong. This flexibility allows the body and mind to recover from injury, to refine movement, to deepen thought. It is a testament to the living nature of the nervous system, not a fixed circuit, but a dynamic and ever-evolving network. And yet, for all its speed and complexity, the nervous system thrives on balance. Too much stimulation leads to tension and exhaustion. Too little leads to stillness without vitality. The body's rhythms, sleep and wake, rest and activity, thought and silence, exist to maintain harmony within this network. During sleep, the brain cleanses itself, flushing away waste through fluid channels and resetting neural circuits. In dreams, it replays and reinterprets experience, weaving emotion and memory together. The nervous system, though ever active, knows when to quiet itself. The calm of night. To reflect on the nervous system is to glimpse the wonder of being alive. Within its silent architecture, electricity becomes thought, chemistry becomes feeling, and matter becomes mind. Every movement of muscle, every beat of the heart, every word and memory is born from its hidden currents. It unites all other systems, sensing, directing, responding, while remaining invisible, intangible, and endlessly intricate. As you rest, The nervous system continues its gentle vigilance. The brain slows its rhythm. The muscles loosen. The senses withdraw. Yet beneath the stillness, neurons continue their soft conversation. They maintain breath and heartbeat, monitor temperature, and hold the line between sleep and wakefulness. Even in the quietest hours, the pathways of thought and motion remain alive, sustaining the miracle of awareness. The nervous system is, in essence, the body's poetry, a network of living light through which consciousness moves. It is the unseen orchestra behind every experience, every touch, every dream. In its constant motion lies the truth of life itself. That energy never ceases, that thought and feeling are both movement, and that within every moment of silence, the mind continues to hum softly, connecting the body to the boundless field of awareness that surrounds it. 16. The endocrine system, harmony of hormones and time. Deep within the body, beyond the realm of conscious thought, there exists a network that governs balance, growth, and rhythm. The endocrine system, it does not communicate through nerves or impulses but through chemistry, releasing tiny messengers called hormones into the bloodstream. These hormones travel quietly through the body, influencing distant organs and tissues, guiding their behavior, and keeping every system in harmony. The endocrine system works slowly compared to the swift electricity of the nervous system, yet its influence is profound and far-reaching. It regulates the cycles of sleep and wakefulness, hunger and satisfaction, growth and rest, stress and calm. It is the body's inner clock and its invisible conductor, orchestrating the symphony of life with subtle precision. The word endocrine comes from the Greek meaning to secrete within, and that is precisely its function. Endocrine glands release hormones directly into the bloodstream, allowing them to reach cells throughout the body. Unlike the nervous system, which acts through immediate signals, the endocrine system operates through gentle waves of influence. Its messages unfold gradually, their effects lasting from minutes to days, sometimes even years. This slow, continuous form of communication maintains stability amid change, ensuring that the body adapts to its needs without losing equilibrium. The master of this network is the pituitary gland, a small structure no larger than a pea, nestled at the base of the brain. Though tiny, it wields immense authority, often called the master gland because it regulates many others. It receives instructions from the hypothalamus, the part of the brain that senses the body's internal state, temperature, hunger, stress, and more. In response, the pituitary releases its own hormones, which either act directly on target organs or signal other glands to release theirs. Through this quiet dialogue between brain and body, the endocrine system remains aligned with the body's needs and the environment's demands. The thyroid gland, located in the neck just below the larynx, plays a central role in controlling metabolism, the rate at which the body converts food into energy. It releases hormones called thyroxine, T4, and triiodhyronine, T3, which influence every cell, determining how quickly energy is produced and used. When thyroid activity increases, metabolism quickens. When it slows, so does the rhythm of the body. The thyroid's work is delicate, requiring perfect balance. Too much activity can cause restlessness and heat, while too little brings fatigue and chill. In its steadiness, the thyroid exemplifies the essence of endocrine harmony, the quiet regulation that allows life to flow evenly, neither rushing nor pausing, but maintaining a calm, sustainable rhythm. Beside the thyroid are the parathyroid glands, 4 small structures that regulate calcium, one of the body's most vital minerals. Calcium not only builds bones and teeth, but also supports muscle contraction and nerve transmission. The parathyroids release a hormone that ensures calcium levels remain within precise limits, drawing it from bones when blood levels fall and storing it when they rise. Through this balancing act, they sustain both strength and motion, Their work may be unseen, but without it, even the smallest movement or thought would falter, for every nerve impulse depends upon their constancy. The adrenal glands, perched atop the kidneys, are the body's guardians of response. They produce hormones that help us adapt to stress and maintain energy. Each adrenal gland has two regions with distinct functions. The outer layer, the adrenal cortex, releases hormones such as cortisol and aldosterone. Cortisol helps regulate metabolism and the body's response to stress, while aldosterone controls the balance of salt and water, influencing blood pressure. The inner core, the adrenal medulla, produces adrenaline and noradrenaline, the hormones of alertness and readiness. These substances quicken the heartbeat, sharpen awareness, and prepare the body for action. Yet, just as important is the ability to return to calm. Once the moment of challenge passes, the parasympathetic system and other hormones ease the body back into equilibrium. This ebb and flow between tension and relaxation mirrors the natural rhythm of existence, a balance of motion and rest, energy and restoration. The pancreas, an organ with both digestive and endocrine roles, regulates the body's energy supply. It produces insulin and glucagon, two hormones that maintain the balance of blood sugar. Insulin lowers blood glucose by allowing cells to absorb it, providing energy and storage, while glucagon raises it when energy runs low. Their alternating actions ensure that the body remains nourished but not overwhelmed. It is a delicate conversation between excess and need, one that continues quietly after every meal, through every hour of wakefulness and sleep. In the reproductive organs, the endocrine system fulfills one of its most enduring roles, the regulation of fertility and the shaping of secondary characteristics. In women, the ovaries produce estrogen and progesterone, guiding the menstrual cycle, preparing the body for pregnancy, and maintaining bone and cardiovascular health. In men, the testes produce testosterone, supporting sperm production, muscle development, and emotional steadiness. Beyond their reproductive roles, these hormones influence mood, motivation, and vitality, reminding us that the endocrine system connects body and mind in ways both subtle and profound. Another key player in this network is the pineal gland, a small, pine cone-shaped structure deep within the brain. It secretes melatonin, the hormone that governs sleep and wakefulness. As daylight fades, melatonin levels rise, guiding the body toward rest. As morning light returns, they fall, awakening the body once more. Through this daily rhythm, known as the circadian cycle, the pineal gland ties human life to the turning of the earth, aligning the body's internal timing with the natural world. This connection between biology and environment underscores the unity of all living systems, that the same cycles that move the stars and tides also move quietly within the human form. Throughout the body, the endocrine system's influence is both vast and gentle. It regulates growth, ensuring that cells divide and differentiate at the proper pace. Growth hormone, released by the pituitary, directs the body's development from infancy to maturity, while other hormones adjust metabolism to meet the changing demands of age. Even after physical growth ceases, these hormones continue to maintain tissues, repair damage, and support vitality. In aging, their gradual decline brings a slower rhythm, but one still marked by balance and adaptation. What makes the endocrine system remarkable is its ability to coordinate not through force but through harmony. Hormones act like notes in a symphony, distinct, fleeting, yet interdependent. Too much of one, too little of another, and the melody falters. Yet when they align, the body performs with seamless grace. The endocrine system embodies patience, responding not with haste but with precision, guiding the body gently through its cycles of hunger and fullness, growth and stillness, wakefulness and sleep. The relationship between the endocrine and nervous systems is one of profound cooperation. The nervous system acts swiftly, responding to immediate stimuli. The endocrine system moves slowly, maintaining long-term stability. The two communicate through shared structures such as the hypothalamus, ensuring that thought and physiology remain united. When emotion stirs, hormones mirror it. When the body shifts, the mind senses it. Together, they maintain the unity between inner and outer, between reaction and regulation, ensuring that the organism remains a single, harmonious whole. To reflect upon the endocrine system is to glimpse the poetry of balance, a system that measures time not in seconds but in cycles, not in reactions but in rhythms. It is the body's inner clock and compass, guiding development, sustaining energy, and adapting gently to change. Through its constant yet subtle influence, the endocrine system preserves the body's most essential truth, that life flourishes not in extremes, but in equilibrium. As you rest, the hormones of calm rise within you, soothing the body into stillness. The pulse slows, the breath deepens, and the mind softens its hold on thought. Within this state, the endocrine system continues its quiet work, adjusting, regulating, and restoring. It keeps the body in tune with the gentle rhythm of time itself. In its silence lies serenity, a steady, unseen harmony that sustains every heartbeat, every thought, every moment of being. 17. The immune system revisited. The body's memory and healing. Within the vast and delicate architecture of the human body, the immune system stands as both sentinel and healer, a silent guardian that watches over the inner landscape. Ever alert, ever patient, it is a system defined not by a single organ but by an intricate web of cells, tissues, and memory that extends throughout the body, flowing through the blood, the lymph, and the tissues between. Its purpose is protection, but also restoration. It distinguishes between what belongs and what does not, between the self and the unfamiliar, and through that discernment, it preserves the body's integrity. Yet it is not merely a shield. It is a teacher, a record keeper, a quiet intelligence that remembers every encounter it has ever faced. Through this living memory, the immune system carries within it the story of survival itself. The immune system is not one structure but many working in unison. It begins with the most fundamental barriers, the skin, the mucous membranes, and the secretions that line the body's passages. These form the body's first line of defense, preventing invaders from entering at all. The tears that moisten the eyes, the saliva in the mouth, the mucus of the airways all contain enzymes and antibodies designed to neutralize potential threats. Even the simple act of coughing or sneezing is part of this defense, a mechanical expulsion of particles that do not belong. This first line of immunity is ancient and constant, always active, protecting without thought or awareness. If these barriers are breached, the next layer of defense awakens the innate immune system. This is the body's immediate, non-specific response to intrusion, a swift and powerful reaction that acts within moments. Cells such as macrophages, neutrophils, and natural killer cells patrol the body like quiet sentinels, ready to identify and eliminate anything foreign. They move through the bloodstream and tissues, engulfing bacteria, viruses, and debris, breaking them down with enzymes and reactive molecules. These cells are guided not by conscious decision but by instinct encoded in their structure, a deep biological wisdom that recognizes patterns of danger. When an injury or infection occurs, the innate immune system initiates inflammation, a process of both defense and healing. Blood vessels dilate, allowing immune cells to reach the affected area, while the surrounding tissues become warm and swollen. Though often misunderstood as a sign of harm, inflammation is the body's way of beginning repair. It isolates the damage, cleanses the site of infection, and prepares for renewal. Within its warmth lies the spark of recovery, a process that restores order from disturbance. Beyond this first response lies the adaptive immune system, a marvel of memory and precision. Unlike the innate system, which reacts broadly to any threat, the adaptive system learns. It recognizes specific invaders, remembers them, and responds with increasing accuracy each time they appear. The key players here are the lymphocytes B cells and T cells, which develop within the bone marrow and thymus. B cells are responsible for producing antibodies, tiny proteins that bind to invaders with exquisite specificity, marking them for destruction. T cells, on the other hand, coordinate the immune response and directly eliminate infected cells. Once an infection has been cleared, a small number of these lymphocytes remain as memory cells, ready to respond instantly should the same pathogen return. This is the foundation of immunity, the body's ability to learn from experience and to protect itself more efficiently in the future. Vaccination, one of humanity's great achievements, works by gently engaging this system of memory. By introducing a harmless version or fragment of a pathogen, vaccines train the immune system without causing illness. The body responds as if a real threat were present, producing antibodies and memory cells that persist for years, sometimes for life. When the actual pathogen is encountered later, the immune system recognizes it instantly and neutralizes it before illness can take hold. This capacity to remember, to learn, and adapt sets the immune system apart as a form of intelligence, one that operates not through thought, but through biological remembrance. The lymphatic system plays a vital role in supporting this immune network. Lymph, a clear fluid derived from blood plasma, flows through vessels and nodes that act as checkpoints. Within these lymph nodes, immune cells meet, communicate, and coordinate their response. They exchange chemical signals, test antigens, and refine their strategies. Much like a vast and silent council, the spleen, too, serves as a center of purification, filtering the blood and removing aged or damaged cells. Together, these structures ensure that the immune system remains alert and organized, even in its quietest moments. Yet the immune system's power lies not only in defense, but in balance. Its responses must be strong enough to protect, yet gentle enough to avoid harming the body itself. When this balance falters, the system may turn its attention inward, mistaking self for intruder, a phenomenon known as autoimmunity. In such cases, the very forces meant to defend become sources of harm, attacking tissues that should be preserved. Conversely, if the immune system becomes too passive, it may fail to recognize genuine threats, allowing infection or disease to take root. The harmony of immunity, therefore, depends on equilibrium, vigilance without aggression, protection without excess. This delicate balance is influenced by every aspect of life. Rest, nutrition, emotional calm, and connection all shape the immune system's strength. Sleep allows the body to restore immune cells and consolidate memory, both mental and biological. Nutrients such as vitamins A, C, and D, along with zinc and iron, support the growth and function of immune cells. Even mood and stress play their roles. Prolonged anxiety can dampen immunity through the constant release of cortisol, while peace and contentment foster resilience. The immune system, like the mind, thrives in balance, its vitality tied to the rhythms of the whole body. When healing is needed, the immune system transforms from guardian to caretaker. After an injury, immune cells clear away dead tissue and signal the arrival of new growth. Fibroblasts begin to weave collagen, new blood vessels form, and the architecture of the body rebuilds itself. Every cut that closes, every bruise that fades, is a quiet act of renewal, guided by the immune system's coordination. Even when illness or fatigue sets in, this network continues its gentle work, repairing what has been disturbed and reminding the body of its capacity to restore itself. The immune system also communicates intimately with the nervous and endocrine systems. Through hormones and neurotransmitters, it senses the body's emotional state, adjusting its readiness accordingly. A moment of fear or excitement can alter the distribution of immune cells, preparing the body for potential harm. Conversely, states of calm and rest allow the system to focus on maintenance and repair. This cooperation across systems reveals a truth of the human form, that there is no clear boundary between mind and body, emotion and biology. Each reflects and sustains the other, forming a unity of experience and function. In its quiet way, the immune system teaches the wisdom of boundaries and compassion. It protects fiercely, but not indiscriminately. It recognizes what belongs and defends without hatred or waste. It remembers past trials, but uses that memory not to dwell on harm, but to grow stronger, wiser, and more resilient. Within its functions lies a reflection of the broader patterns of life, the balance between vigilance and peace, between strength and acceptance. To contemplate the immune system is to recognize that healing is not a single act but a continual process. It is the body's constant dedication to wholeness, the daily reaffirmation that life persists through adaptation. Every moment, in silence, this system works to preserve integrity, cleansing, and renewing, maintaining the delicate harmony that allows consciousness to flourish. As you rest now, the immune system continues its invisible watch. Its cells move softly through the blood, patrolling, repairing, remembering. The lymph flows gently, carrying messages of balance from one part of the body to another. Even in sleep, healing continues, tissues renew, inflammation subsides, wounds knit themselves together. The immune system is the keeper of peace within the body, the unseen healer whose quiet diligence sustains every heartbeat and every breath. In its constancy, it mirrors the rhythm of nature itself. Cycles of protection, release, and renewal. It teaches that strength need not be loud, that restoration requires patience, and that life, in its essence, is an ongoing act of healing. The immune system, ever watchful, ever compassionate, embodies this truth with every silent moment of care. Within its balance, the body finds its resilience. Within its memory, the story of life continues whole, enduring, and profoundly at peace. 18. The interconnected systems, unity of the human body. Within the quiet rhythm of life, beneath the movements of breath, heartbeat, and thought, there exists a deeper harmony, the seamless unity of the human body. Though we speak of systems as if they are separate, the truth is that they are woven together into a single, continuous organism, each dependent upon the others for function and balance. No system acts in isolation. The heart beats in response to signals from the nervous system. The lungs exchange gases to nourish the blood that the heart distributes. The endocrine glands release hormones that influence the brain, which in turn governs emotion and motion alike. It is a perfect circle of connection, a living symphony where every note matters. To understand the body is to see not a collection of parts, but a network of cooperation, a quiet unity in which every organ, every cell, every molecule participates in the same purpose, to sustain life in harmony. The human body, in its intricate design, is a masterpiece of interdependence. The skeletal system gives structure and protection, allowing muscles to attach and move, while the muscular system, guided by the nervous system, gives the skeleton motion and strength. The respiratory system draws in oxygen, which the cardiovascular system carries to every cell. The digestive system breaks down food into nutrients that the blood absorbs and distributes, and the urinary system filters that same blood, keeping its composition pure. The endocrine system releases hormones that influence growth, metabolism, and emotion, while the immune system defends against harm, learning, and remembering as it goes. Each of these functions could not exist without the others. Every breath supports the heart, every heartbeat feeds the brain, every thought alters chemistry, and every emotion stirs the body. It is not a machine, but an ecosystem, a living unity, where cooperation is as vital as motion itself. This unity extends beyond physiology into the subtler patterns of regulation. The nervous and endocrine systems form the twin pillars of control. The nervous system acts swiftly, like lightning, sending signals through its electric pathways to coordinate immediate responses. The endocrine system acts like the tide, slower but enduring, guiding long-term balance through the flow of hormones. They work together constantly, the one adjusting to moments, the other shaping seasons. When the body encounters stress, the nervous system heightens alertness, while the endocrine glands release cortisol and adrenaline to sustain the reaction. When calm returns, the parasympathetic nervous system soothes the body, lowering the heart rate and encouraging rest. These two systems create a rhythm of tension and release a biological breath that mirrors the inhale and exhale of life itself. The connection between body and mind, though invisible, is undeniable. Every thought carries a physical echo. The emotions we feel ripple through the bloodstream in the form of hormones, altering pulse, breath, and perception. A single moment of joy can quicken the heartbeat, while sorrow can slow it, fear may chill the skin, and calm may warm it again. This constant dialogue between mental state and physical form defines the living unity of the human being. The brain, with its neural circuits and chemical signals, is not separate from the heart that beats or the lungs that breathe. It is woven into their rhythm. The mind is not above the body, nor the body beneath the mind. They are two currents in the same river, flowing in unison. At the cellular level, the cooperation continues with astonishing elegance. Every cell, from neuron to skin cell, muscle fiber to blood cell, performs its specialized task while remaining aware of the greater whole. Signals in the form of hormones, nutrients, and electrical impulses pass between them constantly, ensuring that no part is left unattended. Cells of the immune system respond to distress calls from injured tissue. Red blood cells deliver oxygen to every organ. Liver cells filter toxins to keep the bloodstream clear. Even within a single organ, communication is constant. The heart's muscle cells contract together through synchronized electrical impulses, while neurons in the brain share information through an endless web of connections. The unity of the body begins here at the smallest scale, where cooperation is written into the very fabric of life. This harmony of interdependence is also what allows the body to heal. When one system falters, others respond to support it. After an injury, the immune system sends repair cells. The cardiovascular system increases blood flow, and the endocrine system releases hormones to reduce pain and promote recovery. During illness, the body shifts its priorities, conserving energy for repair. Even rest itself is part of this healing symphony during sleep. The brain cleanses itself, the muscles rebuild, and the organs reset. This constant cycle of damage and restoration, activity and repose, is what keeps life balanced. The body's ability to recover, to adapt, and to continue in the face of challenge reflects not mechanical endurance, but biological compassion, the cooperation of countless parts working together for renewal. Energy is the common language through which all systems communicate. The digestive system gathers it, the respiratory system fuels it with oxygen, and the circulatory system distributes it. The nervous system uses electrical energy to send signals, and the muscles convert chemical energy into movement. Even at rest, this exchange never ceases. The endocrine glands adjust metabolism, ensuring that every cell receives what it needs. In times of hunger, the liver releases stored glucose, In times of plenty, the pancreas signals the body to store excess. This constant dance of energy, distribution, and use reflects a deep intelligence, not of conscious thought, but of innate balance. The body's systems are guided by feedback, each sensing the state of the others and adjusting accordingly. It is a conversation so subtle that it continues even in silence, even in sleep. The circulatory system, perhaps more than any other, embodies this unity. Blood connects everything it carries: oxygen from the lungs, nutrients from the intestines, hormones from the glands, and immune cells from the marrow. It is both messenger and sustenance, linking the farthest reaches of the body in a single flow. Through its endless movement, the blood unites the systems into one living whole. Every beat of the heart sends the same message through the arteries and veins: cooperation, exchange, and continuity. The unity of the body also depends on rhythm, a pattern of cycles within cycles. The heart beats, the lungs breathe, the stomach churns, the brain oscillates through waves of activity. The hormones rise and fall with time, and the cells divide and renew according to internal clocks. These rhythms do not compete, they harmonize. When one rhythm falls out of tune, such as when sleep is lost or stress becomes constant, the balance of the entire organism shifts. The body grows weary, the mind restless. Yet when the rhythms are restored, when rest, nourishment, and peace return, the harmony reestablishes itself with quiet grace. The body always seeks equilibrium, always moves toward balance. In every heartbeat and every breath, the body's unity mirrors the larger unity of nature. The oxygen we draw into our lungs was once part of the breath of trees. The minerals in our bones come from the soil, the water in our blood from rivers and clouds. Even the electrical impulses that move through our neurons arise from the same physical laws that govern the stars. The body is not apart from the world, but a continuation of it, shaped by the same forces, sustained by the same cycles. The systems within us reflect the systems beyond us: the atmosphere, the ecosystems, the turning of the planet itself. Life within mirrors life without. This interconnectedness teaches a profound truth. Health is not merely the absence of illness, but the presence of harmony within the presence, body, within the mind, and between the individual and the world. When one system is cared for, all benefit. Movement strengthens the heart, breath calms the nerves, rest renews the endocrine rhythms, and peace nourishes immunity. Each act of care echoes through every level of being, for the systems are not many, but one. To reflect on the interconnected systems of the body is to feel the deep peace of unity, a recognition that nothing exists in isolation, that every part contributes to the wholeness of life. Within you, millions of processes unfold each moment, working together in silent perfection. The lungs expand, the heart pulses, the nerves hum, the cells renew, and through it all flows a quiet intelligence, steady and faithful. As you rest, that unity continues. The systems communicate, adjust, and sustain. The body, in its wisdom, maintains its balance, even in sleep, preserving the calm and continuity that define life itself. Within this harmony lies the essence of existence, the unbroken song of cooperation, the soft music of vitality that plays through every heartbeat and breath. The human body, in all its complexity, is not a collection of parts, but a single living symphony, a harmony of systems that together create the quiet miracle of life. 19. The interconnected systems, unity of the human body. When we look at the human body, it is tempting to think of it as a collection of parts organs with specific roles, systems that perform distinct functions. Yet, in truth, the body is not a series of separate mechanisms, but a single, continuous whole. Every beat of the heart affects the rhythm of the breath. Every breath shapes the chemistry of the blood, Every thought ripples through muscles, hormones, and cells. The body is a network of relationships, fluid, responsive, and alive. It is not simply an assembly of systems, but an orchestra of cooperation, where each part listens to and harmonizes with the others. To understand this unity is to glimpse the profound intelligence of life itself, an intelligence that sustains without command, balances without effort, and heals without pause. At the center of this unity lies communication. No system acts alone. The cardiovascular system carries the nutrients and oxygen that every cell requires, but it cannot act without the lungs to provide air, the digestive tract to absorb nourishment, and the kidneys to cleanse the blood. The endocrine system releases hormones that influence every organ, yet it listens in turn to signals from the brain, responding to emotional states, stress, and sleep. The nervous system receives information from the senses, but it also directs the muscles, controls the glands, and monitors the inner world of organs and tissues. Each system is both giver and receiver, a participant in the larger rhythm of homeostasis, the body's perpetual balance. Consider, for a moment, the act of breathing. When air enters the lungs, oxygen crosses into the bloodstream, binding to red blood cells and traveling to every tissue. The heart adjusts its pace in response, ensuring that oxygen reaches where it is most needed. Meanwhile, the brain monitors carbon dioxide levels, fine-tuning the rate of respiration with every moment. The muscles expand and contract, guided by nerves that respond to subtle changes in pressure and need. Even the skin participates, releasing heat as metabolism increases. What seems like a simple breath is, in truth, the entire body in conversation. A single action, supported by countless harmonized processes. This same harmony can be seen in digestion. The taste and smell of food awaken the senses, sending signals to the brain that prepare the stomach and intestines for what is to come. Hormones from the pancreas and stomach communicate with the liver, prompting the release of bile and enzymes. As the food moves through the digestive tract, the circulatory system absorbs nutrients and carries them to cells, where they are transformed into energy. The kidneys then filter what remains, ensuring the body's chemistry remains balanced. Even the immune system participates, guarding the gut's delicate lining against harmful invaders while allowing beneficial bacteria to thrive. In every meal, the body demonstrates the unity of function, the seamless collaboration of mind, organs, and cells in the simple act of nourishment. The immune system, too, relies on the body's interconnectedness. Its cells are born in the bone marrow, guided by hormones and nourished by the blood. The nervous system alerts it through chemical signals when the body is under stress or threat, while the endocrine system releases cortisol and adrenaline to modulate its activity. When infection occurs, the immune and circulatory systems work as one, blood vessels dilating to carry defense cells to the site, the lymphatic system draining away waste, and the skin and mucous membranes acting as guardians of the perimeter. Healing is not the work of one part alone, but the effort of the whole body, united in purpose. Even emotion, that subtle realm between thought and physiology, reflects the body's unity. A moment of fear quickens the heartbeat, tightens the muscles, and redirects blood flow to prepare for action. A deep sense of calm slows the breath, lowers blood pressure, and releases soothing hormones. The mind state becomes the body's state, and the body, in turn, shapes the mind. This dialogue is continuous. Each system listens to the others in an unspoken language of chemistry and impulse, maintaining equilibrium through cooperation rather than command. This cooperation extends beyond the immediate needs of survival into the long cycles of life, growth, aging, and renewal. During development, the endocrine system's hormones guide the body's transformation, coordinating with the skeletal and muscular systems to build strength and proportion. The nervous system refines control, creating the pathways of learning and memory. In maturity, The body continues to adapt, repairing damage and responding to changes in environment and experience. Even in aging, the body maintains its balance, adjusting its rhythms to slower cycles of renewal. Each stage is not a decline or ascent, but a different expression of the same underlying harmony. At the smallest level, this unity is reflected in the behavior of cells. Each cell carries the full genetic code of the organism, yet performs only its specific task. A neuron transmitting thought, a red blood cell carrying oxygen, a hepatocyte cleansing the blood. They do not compete, but cooperate, responding to the needs of the whole. Chemical messengers guide their actions, while electrical and hormonal signals synchronize their efforts. This coordination is so complete that the body, with its trillions of cells, behaves as a single living entity, not a collection of parts, but one vast, self-sustaining organism. This unity also reveals itself in the balance between stability and change. The body must maintain constant conditions: temperature, pH, glucose levels, even as the environment fluctuates. This balance, known as homeostasis, is achieved through feedback loops, connecting every system. When the body overheats, the skin releases sweat and the vessels expand. When it cools, the muscles shiver and vessels constrict. When blood sugar rises, the pancreas releases insulin. When it falls, glucagon restores it. Each adjustment is instantaneous and precise, the work of countless sensors and signals responding to one another in perfect coordination. Sleep, too, demonstrates the body's unity. During rest, the nervous system quiets, the heart rate slows, and breathing deepens. The endocrine system releases growth hormone, allowing tissues to repair and regenerate. The immune system strengthens its defenses, and the brain consolidates memories, sorting the experiences of the day into patterns of understanding. Though the body appears still, every system continues its quiet work, each supporting the others in the shared goal of renewal. Sleep is not the absence of activity, but the most profound form of cooperation, a moment when the body turns inward to sustain itself. The unity of the body extends beyond its own boundaries. Every breath draws in the atmosphere that has circled the planet for eons. Every meal is a transformation of earth, water, and sunlight. The energy that fuels our cells once resided in plants and soil, and through us, it continues its journey. Even the microorganisms that live upon and within us, the microbiome of the skin, gut, and lungs, are not separate but part of our greater being. They assist in digestion, protect against illness, and communicate with our immune system. The body, then, is not an isolated structure but a living ecosystem, a blend of human and microbial life coexisting in quiet harmony. This interconnectedness extends to the invisible realms of emotion and thought. The mind, though intangible, is not apart from the body but an emergent property of its function. Neurons communicate, hormones fluctuate, blood nourishes, and from this physical interplay arises awareness, the ability to think, to dream, to feel. When the mind calms, the heart follows. When the heart slows, the breath deepens. In this way, the unity of the human body reflects the unity of all experience. Every system, every cell, participates in the flow of life, expressing the same universal principle of connection that binds the stars, the oceans, and the air. To contemplate the unity of the body is to recognize that health is not merely the absence of disease, but the presence of balance. It is the state in which all systems work together, neither dominating nor neglecting, but sharing energy and information in peaceful exchange. The body is not commanded into harmony. It finds harmony naturally, guided by the quiet intelligence that pervades every cell. This same intelligence governs the tides and the turning of the seasons, reminding us that life in every form seeks equilibrium. As you rest now, your body continues its silent symphony, The lungs breathe softly, the heart beats in steady rhythm, and the brain maintains its gentle hum of awareness. Blood flows through arteries and veins, carrying nourishment and calm to every corner of the self. The endocrine system releases its measured signals. The immune system keeps its peaceful watch, and the nervous system coordinates the whole with seamless precision. Even in stillness, there is motion. Even in silence, there is harmony. The body, in its unity, is a reflection of the universe, composed of countless parts, yet moving as one. Within its balance lies a quiet truth, that every heartbeat, every breath, every thought is part of a greater whole. To live within this body is to dwell in a temple of cooperation, a living harmony of systems and energy, working together without command, sustained by the same gentle intelligence that breathes through all of nature. In that awareness, the mind finds peace, for it knows that beneath the surface of individuality lies a vast and perfect wholeness, the unity of life itself. 20. The human journey, balance, awareness, and rest. In the long story of the human body, every rhythm, every system, and every cell works toward a quiet purpose, balance. From the first breath to the last, the body seeks harmony within itself and with the world around it. This balance is not static but fluid, shifting moment by moment as the body adapts to life's changing conditions. It is the balance between motion and stillness, between energy and calm, between the inner and outer worlds. When all the body's systems, circulatory, nervous, endocrine, immune, muscular, and skeletal, flow together in cooperation, something deeper emerges: awareness. It is not merely consciousness in the sense of thinking, but a deep, wordless, knowing, the gentle recognition that the body and mind are part of the same continuous movement of life. Throughout all the systems we have explored, one truth has remained constant: nothing within the human body acts alone. Every breath is supported by countless processes. Every thought echoes through the body's chemistry. Every heartbeat carries the memory of evolution and survival. This unity allows the body to remain steady even in change. The blood adjusts its temperature, the lungs shift their rhythm, the hormones rise and fall in patterns that keep the organism aligned with its environment. Through this constant adjustment, the body lives not in opposition to the world, but in conversation with it, a dialogue between the internal and external, where each informs and completes the other. Balance begins at the smallest scale. Within every cell, thousands of reactions occur each second, producing energy, repairing damage, and maintaining the integrity of life. These reactions depend on delicate conditions: a steady temperature, an exact chemical environment, and the constant flow of nutrients and oxygen. When balance is disturbed, the cell responds instantly, altering its internal state to restore harmony. Multiply this by trillions, and the result is a body that is not static but dynamic, a living equilibrium capable of adapting to every breath, every movement, every emotion. Awareness, too, arises from this balance. It is the quiet observation that occurs when the mind and body are aligned, when the senses soften and perception widens. Awareness is not an external act of watching, but an internal state of presence, the recognition that life itself is unfolding within and through the body. This awareness does not belong to the mind alone. It is shared by the entire organism. The nervous system translates signals into sensation, the endocrine system into feeling, and the heart into rhythm. Together, they create the tapestry of experience, woven moment by moment from the fabric of being. The journey of life is, in many ways, the journey toward balance, learning how to move between action and rest, between doing and being. The body is built for both. The muscles carry strength for effort and work, while the parasympathetic nervous system ensures that stillness and recovery follow. The heart speeds when energy is needed, and slows when peace returns. The brain focuses sharply in moments of attention but drifts gently into dreams when darkness falls. Each rhythm complements the other, forming a cycle that mirrors the larger rhythms of nature: day and night, tide and ebb, growth and decay. In moments of imbalance, when the pace of life pulls the body beyond its natural rhythm, the systems respond with gentle reminders. Fatigue signals the need for rest. Hunger calls for nourishment. Stress, in its early form, is not a flaw but a message, a whisper from the body that it is time to restore equilibrium. If ignored, imbalance deepens, and the body must work harder to find its way back. Yet the wisdom of the body is patient. It always seeks restoration. With sleep, with breath, with quiet, the systems realign, proving again the resilience of the living form. Rest, then, is not merely the absence of activity but a form of participation in life's deeper rhythm. During sleep, the brain does not cease its work but shifts into a state of healing and integration. The endocrine system releases hormones that repair tissue. The immune system strengthens its defenses, and the heart settles into a slower, restorative cadence. Dreams arise, not random illusions, but reflections of the mind's quiet sorting, connecting experiences, emotions, and memories into meaning. The body, too, heals in this stillness. Muscles knit, cells renew, and energy returns. In every hour of sleep, life continues in gentler motion, reminding us that rest is not withdrawal from living but an essential expression of it. The human journey is also a journey of awareness, the gradual awakening to the body's intelligence and to the unity that underlies all life. From the earliest moments of existence, before thought and language, awareness begins as simple sensation: warmth, touch, heartbeat. As the body grows, awareness expands, shaped by experience and perception. The senses open to the world, the mind interprets, and consciousness becomes more intricate. Yet beneath all complexity lies the same quiet knowing, the still awareness that feels the pulse of life without needing to name it. When one becomes still enough to listen, this awareness reveals itself, as steady as the breath, as ancient as the stars. The systems of the body do not merely serve survival, they serve this deeper awareness. The eyes allow light to become vision. The ears translate vibration into sound. The skin feels the air and warmth that connect us to our surroundings. Through the nervous system, every sensation becomes part of the unfolding moment. Through the endocrine system, emotion becomes chemistry, shaping the mind's tone. Through the immune system, the body learns trust and defense, the delicate discernment between self and other. Each function is not isolated, but participates in the larger harmony of being alive. Over time, the human journey moves through many stages, and each stage carries its own rhythm of balance. In youth, energy surges outward, the body grows, explores, and learns through motion. In adulthood, the rhythms slow and deepen, focusing on stability, creativity, and connection. In later years, the rhythm turns inward again, toward reflection and peace. Aging is not decline, but transformation, a shift in how the body expresses its energy, from movement and ambition to stillness and understanding. The same intelligence that guided growth in youth now guides the gentle process of letting go, preparing the body for rest in the larger cycle of life. Through all these stages, the essence of the body remains unchanged, a unity of systems sustained by cooperation and guided by awareness. The heart continues to beat, the lungs to breathe, the cells to renew. Even as the outward form changes, the inner harmony persists, adapting to each season of life. This constancy reveals a truth often hidden by the busyness of thought, that balance is not something to be achieved, but something already present, waiting to be noticed. The body does not seek perfection, It seeks harmony, and that harmony is the foundation of peace. To live in awareness of this harmony is to live in gentle alignment with existence itself. The breath becomes not merely an exchange of air, but a reminder of connection. The same air that fills the lungs has passed through forests, oceans, and countless lives before. The heartbeat becomes a rhythm shared by all living things. Even the stillness of sleep echoes the great resting patterns of the earth, the silence between tides, the pause between seasons. In these moments, awareness expands beyond the boundaries of the body, touching the vast continuity of life that moves through all things. As you rest now, feel that unity within yourself. The systems of your body continue their ancient work, the heart steady, the lungs soft, the mind slowly quieting. The immune system heals, the endocrine system restores balance, the nervous system settles into calm. There is no need for control, no need for effort. The body knows how to be at peace. Within this stillness, awareness remains clear, gentle, and vast. It observes without strain, feeling the quiet harmony of breath and heartbeat, the rhythm of life unfolding moment by moment. In the end, the story of the human body is the story of balance, a dance between activity and repose, awareness and rest, self and world. To understand this is to recognize that the body is not separate from life, but a perfect reflection of it. Every system, every cell, every pulse of energy moves according to the same universal law of balance and renewal. When you close your eyes and breathe softly, you are not leaving the world behind. You are joining it fully, becoming one with the still, rhythmic flow that sustains all existence. And in that quiet unity, the journey comes full circle, body and mind at peace, awareness resting in harmony with the vast, living whole.